So I don't know how I
Hey, you
can then
guys.
say, well, how can I be like the start change with y'all? Y'all ain't causing nobody to kill another person.
Y'all tell me how the
You're not
audio is
going out here raping children, other men and
from
women.
TikTok. Can y'all hear
Y'all
it?
not greedy when it comes to resources. Y'all aren't exploiting other
Hey, Ivy
nations.
Mercedes.
So I'm looking at men as a whole, and that's why I say as a better world. I don't think that it starts with y'all. I think it will start with the
Hey,
men
Tiana Lewis.
actually having a change of heart. I can understand when you say do your part. Like if you want to say that y'all got some issues to work on and y'all got to fix them yourself, fine. But I don't think that the change starts with you because you aren't the problem. And for you not to be the problem and then say that you the solution, I don't understand. That's where I'm kind of getting lost at. If you want to say y'all got y'all own stuff to work on, that's fine. But I don't know if you could say the start of change to make a better world is on the backs of women. I don't see it.
Can I respond to that? Because here's the thing. Before coming to YouTube and part of the time when I was on YouTube, I used to be in health coaching. And it health coaching does require like it's requiring change. So you have to be able to understand how to get people to engage in certain changes. Yes, black men need to change. No, they have no incentive to change. So it's ludicrous at this point to look at the setup in the black community and see how black men are centered. There's no consequences. They get every single benefit afforded to them. Like Proud Black Woman said, even more than the children, because I agree, children are the least protected in the black community. Black men are the most protected. Expecting black men to change a dynamic which is going to require them to do more in order to have access is not even logical. It's literally the same as thinking white people are going to wake up one day and decide they don't want to have white supremacy anymore. We know they're not going to do that. That is the benefit. Black men understand that the dynamic in the black community, even to the degree of children being abandoned, and what that allows other black men to do when a child is dealing with abandonment wounds and dealing with I was rejected by my father wound. Like all of those things relate to the issue, that they relate to the problems in the black community, and all of them are purposeful. Black men are not going to give that up without incentive, because they know they don't have to come with any money. They don't even have to be nice. They don't have to have a home. They all they have to do is exist as black and male, and black women are going to make sure they exist as black and male. So they have to do absolutely nothing to get any benefits, the utmost benefits, more benefits than infants, because you have whole grown black women running around promoting the notion of saving a grown man and prioritizing a grown man over a vulnerable infant. So they're not going to just choose to give up that system. They're absolutely not. It has to start with black women. Black women have to give them some type of incentive to change. And I don't think you should even, and I don't think when black women are making changes, you shouldn't even focus black men in that. You should be doing that for yourself because it's protection to you. But the result would be either black men change or they just get left behind. You have to not give them any other option but to change.
Okay, I, I see it. I don't think it's a woman's. How can a woman change a man? Like, what can y'all? What actually can y'all? And then we always hear women say that you cannot change no man, right? So I don't even. You keep
How are
giving
y'all
them
doing with the audio? Let me know what y'all how y'all doing with the audio.
I mean, the birth rates have been down, but that still ain't gonna change a man's heart. A man has to choose to want to be better. I don't think that's on your backs. I don't think even you giving them an incentive to change will even make them want to change. They'll just go somewhere else like they always been doing.
No, they wouldn't, because the reality is they would attempt to, because they've already said that when they went with women of no color the first time. Like they all through the 90s, all through the early 2000s, Ricky Lake, Jenny Jones, Montel Williams, Geraldo Rivera, all of the talk shows, Tyra Show. Dr. Phil even got it on there where you had groups of black men sitting up listing out reasons why they don't date black women. So they've already done that and they failed. They've already said they go be passport bros. They still in black women's face asking for submission, begging for submission. So them just simply going somewhere else, yeah, they can go have sex with whoever they want to, but to truly get someone invested in them who's going to care whether they live or die, succeed or fail, that's only going to come out of the black community. So it absolutely will. If black women give them no choice but to change, they won't have a choice but to change. They will change if they're not given a choice.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. I don't think that nothing a woman do will make them care enough. Let's say you remove yourself from the community. They don't give a damn. They don't care. They express that they don't care. That's why I'm saying there's nothing I don't think there's nothing a woman can do to make a man change because they've already proven that they don't give a damn.
You're not.
The change still would have to come from them choosing to want to be better. I don't think it's up to you to dictate whether they change or not.
So let me say this. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. You know why I get so angry at mammies and pygmies and they get cussed out and called out their name when they come on my page? Because they are a big part of the problem. It just is what it is. Women that continue to call black men kings, continue to say that I'm a protest, I love the black man, my kids gonna be black, my husband gonna be black, but a black man still ain't asked you to marry them. Like, you sound crazy. That's why these men are the way that they are, because we have those type of women that will worship them just based off of them being black. They continue this putting them on a pedestal, which thereby makes black men think we're all that way. So that's why when I'm in conversations with black men and they realize that I'm not kissing their ass and I'm not calling them a king and I'm not trying to perform for them, respectfully, they treat me with respect. I get treated differently by black men versus the mammy and pick me, because when you in my face, you finna get told what you really are. I'm not finna praise you. I'm not. So it does make a difference. I'm telling you, as a black woman who doesn't put black men on a pedestal, they do treat you differently, especially when they find out that you are a black woman who has dated interracially. Right now, I'm dating interracially. They have more respect for you. They do, because they realize in that moment, this is not a black woman that I'm finna be able to just wave my blackness in front of, and she just gonna drop to the floor. It does. It does. It does. And even that small difference, the more black men see that, they will, and they're seeing it. They're coming on my page and saying it. They're coming on my page and saying, yeah, I'll see more of y'all dating outside the race. It is starting to have an effect. The less we praise them, the more they will realize that you have to do more than just be black. You actually have to fucking do something.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take. Men are not, first of all, men are not even mature enough to want to be better on their own. There has to be an incentive. And that's the first thing that women need to understand. Men are not mature enough to just say, I want to be a good man today. Because if it were up to men, y'all would, if there were no laws, y'all would be committing more crimes. Y'all would be doing more. So we already know that about men. And I think that that's the part that a lot of women don't get. Men are not just naturally good on their own. They're good because there's laws in place. Yep. They're good because they know that they can't do certain things in certain places. At this point, it is on women to say, no more. We're going to stop choosing and worshiping you. And that the more we do that, the more black men will see that.
It's not about treating them like children, Florida Bella. That's not it.
Generations after generations, they've been allowed to just be black, and we have felt sorry for them because of that. And look what it's caused the community. The community has suffered because of that. Yep. It's something I noticed when I was in high school.
And it's well, thank you for the cowboy hat and stuff. I actually love whoever did that.
Shout out to Rain. She's showing you a lot of love. Shout out to Rain.
Shout out to you, Rain. Thank you so much. But no, it's not about whether or not they want to change. That's not what it's about, and it's not even about forcing them to change. Black women have no standards. They have no boundaries. They have zero expectations. They don't administer consequences. There are no deal breakers. It's a free for all. So I'm not even suggesting that black women do anything to black men. I don't think that black women should be centering black men. What I think black women need to do is recognize, understand, and accept who black men are and act accordingly. You should not be navigating society in general with no standards, expectations, or boundaries. You should have that regardless to who you're dealing with. But what I do know is that even when someone wants to change, they still need incentive. They need either an incentive or a consequence. When I was doing health coaching, I talked to thousands of people who wanted to change. They really wanted to change. They needed to change. They would list a laundry list of reasons why they're going to change. But even though they wanted to, they still needed the incentive. They still needed the guidance. They still needed someone else to be an accountability manager for them. That's why we were big on asking, do you have anyone who can act as an accountability manager to try to keep you on track with your change? So even when people need to change, they still need assistance. Black men's behavior is deplorable. It is a danger to the entire community. Black women can stand to have some standards, and they can simply say, regardless to the race, black, white, green, blue, I'm not going to deal with a man who believes in 50-50, refers to women as females, or whatever. You would set your standards for yourself if he doesn't have a job, because really nobody should be getting with any man who isn't educated or who does not have a job. Like when you have a child with these people, you're sharing their genetics. You're sharing their genetics. So there need to be some standards.
I wasn't trying to laugh. Okay, what percentage of women do you think that are just sleeping around with the bum? Like,
A lot of them are bums.
huh?
We center black men, so it doesn't even matter what category you lump the black man in. To me, the majority of them are bums. To me, there's very few of them who are even self-sufficient. They running around talking about 50-50 because y'all, they really need it. Like they really do need it. A lot of them are like one paycheck away from homelessness, if even that. So the situation for black men is dire. It will be, black women have all the leverage. Like literally all of the leverage is in black women's hands. They just don't see it. That's the problem.
Okay. What was there was something I was going to say. So, by the way, my StreamYard is ready. If you want to send it to the email, I can come on there as well. Okay. How am I going to explain this? I still hear you. I understand the connection. There has to be an incentive for a man to want to do something. The problem I'm still having with that, because I'm relating it to all the evil in the world, I still don't get the correlation when it comes to the harm that's being done, why that should be on your backs.
I can tell you that.
If you want to say that black women are contributing to that because they are birthing men, sure.
It's not that they're just birthing them. It's not even just that they're birthing them. For example,
okay.
Black women act as though when they have a son, they can't raise him to have the qualities that they want a man to have. They act like they can't do that. If you have a male child, you can raise him to be kind. You can raise him to be considerate. You can raise him to open doors for women, or however you want him to be. But what black women will do is they will have a son and they will tell him not to provide for another girl. They will tell him not to protect her. They'll, like, I've seen many videos of black mothers saying, no, it's not your job to provide for a woman. If she don't got her own money, then why are you with her? So black women will literally raise their sons to be the opposite of the type of man they want to be with. And then when they get out there to date, they'll be complaining that there is no good men. And it's because you're not raising them to have the qualities. You can raise them to have the qualities, because what I do know is that if a man has daughters, his voting and a political affiliation and the way he raises his son is going to be in contrary to the needs of the daughter. He's going to raise the son to be a patriarchal predator. That's what he's going to do, regardless to whether he has a daughter or not. Black women will not do that. They won't raise their sons in contrary to a patriarchal mentality. They will not raise their sons to be respectful and kind and helpful to another woman. And that's because a lot of them are boy moms. They have weirdo relationships with their sons. They think their sons are their husbands. And so when they see another, it could even be another girl, they don't look at her as a potential mate for their son. They look at her like competition. I don't want him out there doing this for another woman because he needs to do this for me. So of course he can't be out here providing for another woman because I'm the main woman in his life. Then you have competition there. So the mentality is completely wrong. And I think part of the reason why Black women fail to raise their sons to be respectful to women is because they themselves don't like women. And that's one of the products of being in a patriarchal system. Women hate themselves and therefore hate other women.
I can see some validity. I don't think when it comes to, well, I think women are raising their children to, or children in general, to be decent. I think the problem is the influences of other men also get into that child in the school system, his peers, the boys, and the family members. That's why you have a lot of women say that they don't even want their son to go around family members if they're not around them, because what the uncle talking about. So that the uncle and his nasty misogynistic ways, and the dads, the male cousins, I still think it's a male problem. Because the woman will be teaching her son to be respectful and be nice and all those decent things. But once the influence of a man enters that, that's who he's going to identify with. So I don't know if I can't. Now I know there's a lot of, we can say there's a lot of bad mothers. We can say there's a lot of bad raising dynamics. We can say there's some women who want their sons to be mama's boys and, like you just said, don't want him to provide for no other woman because they jealous or whatever. I get that. I don't think that that's the average that's happening in general, to where women are not teaching their children or their boys specifically how to be good human beings.
I don't believe that they are. I don't believe that they are.
Let me mute this phone so it's not double talk.
I don't believe they are. I don't. I absolutely don't believe they are. And the reason I don't believe they are is because of the mentality that a lot of these women have. Hold on for a second. I'm trying to find... Hold on. I did something that... Oh, I shouldn't have done. Because I have to... Okay, there you go. Yeah, so they're not doing that. And the reason why they're not doing that is because we know they'll sit up and say they can't do it. They can't raise a boy to be a man. They need another man to come raise their sons to be a man. And that's not true. And even if it is, okay, fine. You may not be able to induct him into manhood, but you can teach him to be respectful. You can teach him to be self-sufficient. You can teach him to be independent instead of dependent. And we know that because they're teaching their daughters to do that. They're teaching their children based on the patriarchal playbook. And that's because a lot of Black women are religious, which we'll get into later, because all of those fold into the same thing. But women are teaching their male children to be patriarchal, whether it's white, Black, Asian, or Hispanic. They're all doing the same thing because this is the society that we're in. But what I see a lot with Black women, and it could just be because I'm Black and we in the Black community, whatever. I see a very negative attitude that Black women have towards other women. And I think they even have it to the extent of, if they are older, having the mentality of, I didn't get a good Black man, so you don't deserve one. And I think that's more of the mentality in there. There's no camaraderie, because you would have a group of men who were respectful to women if women in the Black community were all raising their sons to be respectful to women, to provide for women, to open doors. They're not doing that because they don't want their sons providing or loving a woman in a manner in which they never experienced. They don't want that.
Can I add to that too, Sin? One of the most annoying things to me, the reality is that most Black women, I would venture to say, they don't even think it's important enough to teach their Black sons to love and protect Black girls. Mm-hmm. They don't even, that's a simple, I don't need a man for that. I don't need a man for that. That as a Black woman myself, if I had a son, and I would never, but if I had a son, that basic principle by itself, just teaching my son to love other women and girls who look like me. Black women ain't teaching aren't even teaching their sons that. So it's like it's like I don't understand, and we know that because the number of Black women that I've talked to in my life who have literally complained to me in these
Actually, that's
conversations
a
about how their son is 8
Shakita.
years
That's
old,
that's actually a good
9 years
example.
old, and
Remember
he's
that little
already making
girl who was
comments like
gang
he doesn't
raped?
like
Yep.
dark skinned girls. So then
Yep.
I asked them, because you dark skinned, sis. So you
And the
dark
mom
skinned.
sat
So
up
I'm
there, and
asking,
one of the family members
so
justified
how
it.
did you not teach your son to love the women who look like you? Oh, well, I just want my son to be happy. Bam, there it is. You just want your son to be happy. You don't give a damn about how he treats women who look like him. So that is a basic. You could teach your son that just in the womb. Just looking in the mirror. Like if I had a son, I would take him over to the mirror at 2 or 3 years old, and I would touch his little skin and say, "Son, you look like this." Most of all,
Sorry, you.
regardless of that, Black women. Ooh, that's beautiful.
I don't know what.
Hold on. You know what you just got?
No.
That is
Okay, so this is why I've been telling you to come on TikTok for a minute.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that was.
You just received a gift that's damn near $250.
Oh wow, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that.
If I'm not mistaken,
Wow.
that was the TikTok universe. Somebody really supports you like that, and that's why they want you to come on the platform to talk.
Well, I have to figure. Well, if I can do it like this, where I'm just on my phone and then on YouTube, then yeah, I'll try to do it next time I go live.
That's how I do it. Like I could run you through that. Somebody they've been wanting you to come on here for a long time and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, TikTok censors more than YouTube. So I'm just like, why y'all? They just censor so much. Have removed like a number of my little video clips for saying that they violated. So I was just like, anything that has more censorship than YouTube is not for me. But to the person who did that, thank you so much. Like you don't have to do
If I'm
that.
not mistaken, I think it was 500, but you know TikTok take half, so I think you will receive $250.
Wow, yeah, TikTok is
But
trash.
yeah, that was somebody just did that. That's amazing. But yeah, you gotta get. All you gotta do is just.
I'm just like, I'm speechless because I'm like, what?
It'll be easy for you to adjust this. It'll be easy for you to
Well,
adjust it. But like, product, I hear you. Oh shit, I'm on.
They're not even teaching their sons that.
No, they're not.
That's disgusting to me. Like, how do you have a son that came out of your womb and you don't think it's important enough to teach him to love the women who look like him? That makes no fucking sense.
I don't know how to, but I really don't. I understand that Black women have problems. I get it. I also know that there's a line that I can't cross when it comes to addressing those problems. So that will be a woman-to-woman conversation. My heart just tells me that, and the way I've seen women raise boys, that they are teaching their sons to love women like them. But later down the line, when misogyny kicks in around 13 years old, a son does grow to try his mother. We've seen this. They be the boys be nice and kind. They grow up, and around a certain age, they start trying their mothers. Where is that kicking in at, and why? I can't just say that the women. I don't think the women are doing bad raising dynamics in general. That's causing the son to be when he gets into adulthood or teenage years or whatever to be an asshole. I don't know how to quantify it now, and I don't know how to even speak to it because I haven't seen it.
So here's the thing. When we say raising them, we're not just talking about instilling certain values in them. We're also talking about when they don't engage in the type of behavior that you are trying to guide them towards behaving in, giving consequences. And we know there's no consequences for Black boys. There's excuses given for them. Boys will be boys, and oh well, a woman can't do this, or she'll emasculate them if she do too much of this, or correct them too much of that. So no, there's just a lot of defending and reinforcing of the behavior. And what
But that's a man thing. The men are the ones preaching that this boys will be boys, and the men are the ones who promote boys being sexually active as a dang child and stuff like that.
Right, but you
It's-
can't do anything about the men right now. You have to work with the children, the next generation, to mold their minds. So I'm talking about going forward, because here's the thing. It took me, like, I'm about to turn what, 42 this year. It took me up until now to really learn the benefits of standards, expectations, and boundaries. So it's not just the women raising their sons in a certain way, right? Because their sons are going to have interactions with daughters, with girls. They're going to have interactions with them. And one of the things that I learned, and it's been demonstrated in my life, that if you have certain requirements, if you have certain standards, if you have boundaries, and you lay out your expectations, and you hold steadfast to those standards, expectations, and boundaries, and be willing to walk away from someone after they violate you, that alone is going to teach them a lesson. That is going to teach them lessons. So a person now could not come to me, like a man couldn't come to me right now in certain conditions. There's, like, I'm learning the flaw behind giving chances. I don't think women should be giving men chances. I don't think you should be working around toxicity. When you start seeing signs of toxicity, you need to be giving them a consequence. These are things that I'm talking about. It's not just even about raising the boys. Raise the girls to where they're not tolerating the bad behavior in the boys that you don't want them to engage in. And if those girls are grounded and raised up with those values, then those men are not going to be able to do those things, because those girls were already taught these are the behaviors that he's going to engage in. The problem is black women do not accept who black males are. They don't accept who they are. They're interacting with them based on their fantasy of who they want them to be, not who they are. If you accept who they are, you can raise them around their nature.
I can agree with that. I can agree with what you said.
That
Ma,
part
you
to
have to
me
come
is-
open
is
this.
The most beautiful part is, and that's what I'm saying. For me, realizing things when I was in high school is why I didn't do certain things, because I saw how the black males in my community were allowed to get everybody pregnant and just walk away, and it didn't even matter. Like, it was an Asian chick in my high school. I got a picture of her. Literally, I still got that picture of her and her mixed race son. Got pregnant for a black dude in high school and was left a single mom. So I've been seeing this and didn't even understand that at the time, because I was 17, that this is what they do to all races of women. I didn't understand that back then, but I saw it. So because of that, and seeing my woman cousins also become single moms at an early age, I was like, no.
Florida Bella, you can stop dating them. If you want to, just stop dating them. If it's too much work, you should.
I understand and know how to put words to it, but I knew that we had a problem in our community that I wanted nothing to do with. And I still have no regrets today. My question to you, Shannon, is this real quick. Sure. Because I think what me and Sen are saying is we don't have time to wait for the men to become better men. That we don't have time for that. We have to take action now. So I'm gonna use the example of, and the best example I know to use is right now, me personally, I'm just gonna speak for me. I'm on an abstinent journey. July will make 2 years. Do you think I couldn't get none in 2 years? No. You know all these men standing in line, like, come on now. The reason, and so the point I'm making, right, is the reason I have not done anything in 2 years is because of me. It's not because of the men. And even when I was with my ex, why did I not get pregnant? You think it was because of him? It was because of me. I made sure. So that's what I want women and black women, because black women act like they don't have no choice. We literally act like we have to keep doing what Grandma Bertha did, what Auntie Terrell did, what Cousin Shamika did. You have a choice. You don't have to continue the degeneracy in our community. You can choose better. And that's a big thing that I want black women to understand. So we don't have time to wait for men to become better men. We have to do what we have to do to protect ourselves now. I think that's...
I agree. I agree with what you're saying. But what I'm saying is, I said the change for a better world. Y'all are just changing y'all's parts. You closing your legs and not having children and teaching other black girls to watch out for these type of men, that's what you should be doing. That ain't stopping the crime. That ain't stopping colonization. That ain't stopping territory from being taken over. That's not stuff, because those men are still here. So I'm talking about as a whole of what's going on in the world. It's not on your backs because you're not the ones fucking it up. I'm not talking about y'all don't have your own stuff that y'all can do right now to fix. I'm talking about who's fucking up the world, who's fucking up the community. It's not y'all out here like selling. There's women who sell product, but that's in general. It's not y'all out here who's selling the goddamn product. It's not y'all out here doing pew-pewings and mass pew-pewings and stuff like that. It's not. That's not on y'all. So the solution still would be on men to stop doing those things. I'm not telling you to wait on them. I'm just saying it's not on your back.
Well,
Fix what you can fix, but you're not in control of what are like all the other stuff that's going on in the world. That's all I'm saying.
well, no one can change any grown person, man or woman. You can't change a grown person. Most grown people are set in their ways. The only thing that black women should be doing with the grown black men today is understanding who they are, accepting it, and acting accordingly. That's what we're saying. You're not going to change a grown man today. They would have to change themselves. I'm talking about giving the incentive to change, because it's like,
Hold on. They sent you something. I couldn't hear you. They
no.
sent you another nice gift, so I couldn't hear what you say.
Thank you. I said it's about the incentive to change. You have to give the incentive to change. For example, we ain't listening to nobody saying deal with a man who can only pay the light bill. We know damn well we're in an inflated economy. More than the light bill needs to be paid, and we should be understanding that there's a certain abusive pathology that comes with that man. These are the things that I'm talking about. Set firm standards, boundaries, and expectations. Stop teaching daughters that it's their job to protect black men and lift up black men and be the buffer between black men and racism. That's not your duty to do as a black girl. Yes, I think black women are centering black men even above themselves and their children. We saw that literally in the Nature Boy documentary. This dude was beating on this woman, essaying her, and she got out and still was like, I don't want to put a black man in the system. No. Put him in the system, because if he's violating you, then he belongs in the system. We can look at the DV stats and see why a lot of black women are one of the contributing reasons for a lot of black women dying is number one, because they're centering that man. Yes, fear is a part of it, but at the top of that list of fear is fear of what's going to happen to that black man if she called the police on him, more so than fear of him taking her life. And that is a statistical fact. At the top of the list, it is fear of what is going to happen to that black man if she called the police. No, we are not teaching daughters to protect males who are violating and dishonoring them. No, if a man is dishonoring you, even if you love him, you separate from him. You love him from a distance. You allow him to be away from you and get the help that he needs. But we're not centering men who are abusive. We're not centering men who are violent. We're not centering men at all. And that's something that black women can do. And we sit here and we act like as black women we are helpless. We are not. We have more power and leverage than black men have, not just in the black community, but outside of it too. We just don't wield that power because we don't recognize having it. That's the problem.
Okay, so do you think that, and I'm not going to say enough of a shift has changed, but do you see a shift that has changed, especially with the rise of singleness, the rise of celibacy in our own community, the rise of, the lack of children being born? Do you see that?
I do. I see some of it, but I think a lot of it is performative. I do. I think a lot of it is performative because at the end, because I'm noticing certain women who are under the umbrella of empowerment. But you can see, if you're able to have the discernment, you can see the male centeredness seeping out. They try to cover it up, but you can still see that they're male centered. Like, for example, there's women who are talking about decentering men, but they feel the need to center men who are expressing themselves as females. They are still males. At the end of the day, they still think up here is a male. Up here is still a male. So that's why I'm saying there's not enough from women understanding and recognizing the harm that they're in. They're not understanding the harm that they're in. You in danger.
And I'm gonna say this, saying, because as black women, they get so angry. Look, I said this on my platform and I'll say it again. I am only concerned with black women.
Yep.
I'm not black women and black girls. And I feel like, and that's the thing, Shannon. That's the problem. That's the problem right there. Anytime a black woman says that she puts herself, and when I say black women and girls, yes, I'm talking about women who were born girls. I said what I said. And I don't make any apologies for that. Because the world is not used to black women like myself who center myself, that's a problem. But it's just going to be a problem, my nigga, because that's all I'm centering over here. It's not my job as a black woman to save the world. And that's the complex that the world is so used to. We're so used to black women helping everybody else except ourselves. I'm helping us. That's it. And that doesn't include the men. Black women and black girls over here. I'll say that to your face.
And
I
I
don't care about how people feel about that. But and that's the issue, because we want black women to save everybody else while everybody else shits on us. Nobody cares about what we go through as black women and black girls, but we're supposed to care about everybody else. I refuse. It is a choice. I'm not obligated to sit in this life and care about everybody else. I don't have to. There's no one that can do anything about that.
See, now here's the thing. I agree with you. I agree.
That doesn't mean, let me make this clear, now I'll let you go. That doesn't mean that I don't care about other groups. I'm just simply saying I'm not putting you above me.
no,
Period.
no.
I'm not putting you above
I agree with that, and that's why I also have a problem with certain things that's being said, such as women don't want to be called cis. I'm not going to open that can of worms.
Yeah, we don't have to open that can of worms. I was just giving it as an example because if in black women's minds, they know that these are biological males, and that's why they end up defending them and prioritizing them even over the feelings and the comfort of black women. And this is something that I noticed, but we don't have to open that can of worms. But I'm just saying that as an example because of how many times I've been attacked personally over it. So I notice the male worship. No matter how you spin it, we don't even have to open the can of worms, but it is male worship at the end of the day. It's just another branch of male worship, literal male worship. That's all that it is. It's more male worship.
That's all I'll say about that. I have my own thoughts, and I'm mostly in agreement with what you just said. The problem is, you live in a very progressive society, and they're gonna look at that as transphobic.
No, I know what they're gonna look at it. Trust me, I know what they're gonna look at it as.
They're always going to look at a woman centering biological. I'm going to use the word females, but I disrespect biological females, born girls to women, all that stuff. They're going to look at, if you don't center trans women, you are transphobic, because those are the women. And that's why I don't agree with that. But I'm just telling you how it's going to go.
Black women and black girls, that's all I care about over here.
I understand it.
They can call it anything they want to, but they can't call it false. That's what they can't say, that we're lying. Because at the end of the day, it is, yes, indeed, another branch of male worship. How do we know? The reverse gets absolutely zero attention. Even though they exist, the reverse gets no attention. This is male worship at the end of the day. And until black women stop being male worshipers, they cannot then turn around and uplift each other and empower each other. Like, how are you going to empower even your daughters if you're focusing males? This is why even in the same home, and it happened in my home, my brother got privileges, my younger brother got privileges that we didn't get as daughters. It just is what it is. Someone was always coddling him. Someone was always defending him. Someone was always doing something for him. He never really had to an actual man or do anything for himself or even be nice. So now if you observe him as an adult, he's the same as every other black man running around here disrespectful but thinking he's the prize. And so those are things that we can just stop doing. Sometimes it's not even about what you need to start doing. Sometimes it's about what you need to stop doing. And if black women decenter black men alone, even not even thinking about this generation, just thinking to future generations, that's absolutely going to change the way in which they act and show up in society. There's no scenario where black women have standards, expectations, and boundaries isn't going to shift how they show up in society. They won't have a choice but to. They won't have a choice. You would just go without.
Okay, I can't measure it because it does seem like, excuse me, it does seem like black women have taken a vow of niggas ain't shit, leave niggas alone, which I am all for. I'm all for that. Being celibate and even opening up the option, it does seem like that they have taken that type of route. So I can't now to say that it's not enough. I can't measure it, but it does say. I mean, there was reports that said the average woman gonna be single and childless by 2045. That ain't too long from it. That ain't too long from now. So
No.
I mean, that's women across the board. So I think y'all moving in the right direction. Now, will I say it's enough today? Probably not. But it does seem like there has been a move of women centering themselves in general. I mean, even in other countries, you have 4B movements and things like that. It seems like there's a massive fight against the patriarchy and things like that. And not every woman is going to be a proud black woman or Cynthia G that's standing on business like that. But I do think that the average woman is moving towards that way. You said my mic sound kind of low? My bad. Let me get a little closer. My bad, bro.
Yeah, on YouTube, one person is saying that they hear you low, but I don't see how that could possibly be because I know this phone is real loud. So,
Like this. I'm pretty sure they get. I had my mic muted, but I don't want to echo on both like talk. I'll just mute it.
But I should be able to talk about it.
Question, Shannon. So what I noticed is when we have these conversations, not just in this live, because we talked about this before somewhere else. We have all these things, right, that we know women can do or stop doing to try to make some type of change, right? Because that's the point. Because the black community has not progressed at all. I mean, this is probably the most progressed we have ever been. Like, just the birth rates being down is the first time I've ever seen any type of progression in our community. And it's really pathetic. So what I don't hear, and you being a man, I'm gonna need you to say something, because what I don't hear is men saying, well, what are y'all gonna do? And that's the point. It's like, y'all aren't going as a collective. You are, Shannon, but I'm just saying as a collective, it goes back to what me and Sam were saying. Until there are consequences, until more women stop having kids, until more women close their legs, black women need to open up their options. Black women must open up their options, and we have. Because the more black men see that, then they realize, oh, we are losing them. And then they want to make a move. My thing is, as men right now, how would you say men are going to want to change? Do you even know? Respectful.
I'm gonna be bold and tell you, because I don't know how else to say this. They don't give a fuck. Okay. I don't think that there's nothing you can do. I don't think if you go get a white man, I don't think if half black women, majority of black women started marrying out, started being single, they don't care. That's what I'm saying. They have proven time after time throughout history they don't care. So even with you doing all these things, they're not going to change regardless.
here's the
That's all I'm saying.
thing.
So,
But they shouldn't be focusing on whether or not black men are gonna change. I don't like, to me that's still centering black men. I'm gonna do this and then in hopes that they're gonna change. One, I can tell you some of them are absolutely gonna change by default. It just is what it is. I know and understand how behavior change works. Consequences are one of the best ways to get people to stop engaging in certain behaviors, even if they don't want to. We know if you give them a consequence that's stiff enough, they ain't gonna be engaging in that behavior, or they go sneak around and do it covertly, but they definitely ain't gonna be out in your face engaging in behaviors. What I'm saying is that black women need to completely decenter them. Get them off get them off the pedestal, because like one of my subs on YouTube said, you'll even have women who are saying they're empowering for women's empowerment and they're decentering men, but then they'll say no wedding, no womb. Or why are you not married before you have a kid? Or we need more marriage in the community. If you feel like we need more marriage in the community, then you're saying that we need to center men. Marriage centers men. No woman should be basing her life on a man being at the center of it. That's what I'm talking about. In everything that you do, you should be decentering men. If you're saying wedding, no womb, you're not decentering them. You're putting him on a pedestal and saying you're not even going to use your reproductive system unless he's involved. So I don't know how much more male centered you can be than saying I'm not going to use my own reproductive system unless I'm legally bound to and tied to a man. Decenter them in every way, shape, and form. If you depower somebody, then they're at your mercy. Essentially, black women just need to disempower.
Can you expound on that? I may be a little off.
To disempower black men.
No, not that part. I'm talking about so when women be more selective with your womb.
No, they're not saying be more selective. They're saying something specific. They're saying don't use your reproductive system unless you're married to a man. That's what no wedding, no womb means. It means do not give this man access to your womb, i.e. don't use your reproductive system. Amen. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. And quite frankly, based on how offended black men were when Ebony K. Williams walked her pretty ass into a sperm bank and had a baby without him, based on their reaction, yeah, that's a problem. Decenter them from everything, because their whole issue with Ebony K. Williams was that she cut that man out. Now that man don't got no control. He ain't harassing her about no kid. He ain't on her phone all the time. He has no man has no reason to be able to check her with anything. She don't got to argue with nobody about differences in parenting style. Completely decenter him. Black men run around acting like they have leverage and they don't. And the reason why they do this is because black women act like black men are at the center of the universe. Keep in mind, I'm saying act like. I'm not saying you speak like. I'm saying your actions, which speak louder than words, show that you care about black men more than you care about your own life as a woman. And that's the problem. There's no centering of children at all. There's no centering of black women's personal welfare. So even when it comes to what Proud Black Woman is saying, because yes, I do think black women need to date out. They have to decenter black men to even date out. They have to. They not gonna date out if they not decentering the black man. Because then it's, oh, I can't be with the white man and the white man slaved the black man. Well, how did the white man get access to you? Oh yeah, the black man. So yeah, we just need to go ahead and decenter black men. They need to feel irrelevant. They need to be put in a position where they are as irrelevant as they are, visibly as irrelevant as they are. And I'm all about it. If a man say something true, I'm that girl that's gonna call your bluff. I'm gonna call your bluff, absolutely. And I think it's about time black women call their bluff.
I want to add to what you just said, Sin, because I get into it a lot with people going on lives on here, because the first thing black men will say is, well, what do we do about our community? Mind you, you're the men, so why are you asking us? And I've said this, Shannon, so you know I feel this way. I have no desire to put the black community back together. I don't care about black men and black boys. I've been very honest about that. I do not care. I don't have love for the black men the way that most black women do. I never have. I never got the opportunity to have love for y'all because I was so young when I noticed how treasonous y'all are as a group of men. So I never had the man me, pick me. I was never that. I never got the opportunity to be, thank God. And I also was not raised in a home where we put black men above everything. I'm so grateful that my parents did not teach me that shit. So I do not care about black men and black women coming together. I don't. I honestly feel like we need to separate. And I feel like black men need to know what life is like without black women. They've always had us as a crutch. And I wish that we could make that happen. And it could be possible. It wouldn't be, I don't think it would be in our lifetime, but that's honestly how I feel. I don't have a desire for black men and black women to come together. My desire is for black women to worry about us, our daughters, and for the black men, the few brothers like you who actually care about black women. It's gonna come a time where the pick-me's and the self-hating men and then us, we're going to have to separate. And I am 100% fine with that. They can go off to another planet as far as I'm concerned. As a matter of fact, I wish we could take them there today. But that is honestly how I personally feel, because our community, the way it functions, it's never, I just don't see, and you just said it as a black man. You just said they don't care. So they don't care. So it's time for black, to be honest with y'all, I think the same way a nigga do. The same way black men don't care about black women as a collective, I don't care about y'all as a collective.
But you want to know why they don't care, though? Do you want to know why they don't care? Because they've never gotten a consequence. That's why they don't care. They don't care because no matter what they did, no matter what they've done in the past, no matter what they continue to do or say, black women still choose them. Like I was listening to a panel discussion and there was this Dusty bandit up there. Let me tell y'all, the bandit could have been literally the prototype. The way he sound was the prototype for my Dusty beta male. So I'm just telling you, he's like super, super Dusty. But anyway, the women on there were frustrated because this bandit basically said he basically said, look, we don't care. None of that matters. And she was like, why? And he was like, because we still getting chosen. Let me tell you how pissed I was by the audacity of that bandit. I was pissed by the very audacity of that bandit, and more so because he was right. And more so because he's right. They are still going to get chosen. They have been still getting chosen. And not only have they still been getting chosen, but black men's little manipulation tactics and weaponization of other women on black women, it's worked. It's worked. Black men said black women were too prudish and wouldn't put out enough. And so now he got to go get Becky. Now they call them black women thoughts. I guess she put out too much now. So when black men said black women need to be submissive and stop nagging so much and gotten videos with they throwback Becky-shas, black women, guess what? Start promoting femininity and submission. So not only are black women still choosing them, but they're acquiescing to their desires. Stop doing it. I don't give a damn about no black man talking about he wants submission. Where's your authority, sir? Because you're talking about a whole lot of submission to not have even an iota of authority nowhere. Because you definitely not gonna have authority over my life because I already know I have more than you. There are black women who have more than black men, but allowing him to be in her home and pretending to be the man of the home. You're not a man of the home in my house if you're paying part of the bills. You ain't in my house if you're paying 50-50 anyway, because I can pay for my own bills. I don't need the 50-50. You're too much of a high risk to just be going off of some free dick and 50% of the rent. That's not going to happen. They're too high risk. They're too high risk. But the problem is they feel and think and believe and behave the way they do because they have not gotten a consequence. They haven't gotten a consequence. And so we can't actually even say we can't say what they would do. We can't say they don't care enough to change because black women ain't never gave them a damn consequence. Give them consequences. You should have gave them a consequence once you walked off the plantation after being on it for hundreds of years and they failed to get you off of it. Or how about in Jim Crow when they couldn't protect you and you were getting raped and beaten on in white people's house because they failed to build an economy so you didn't have to work for them or protect you at all. So black men have already given black women every single reason to leave. And what bothers me is that it's them publicly rejecting black women. Absolutely not. Like that's the part that literally burns me up the most. Black women have everything to offer. Black men have nothing, but black men operate as if they have everything to offer. Absolutely not. And this is why they hate me and the proud black women and all the other women that say they're not worthy of this type treatment. They're not worthy. And it is no surprise to me that femicide is increasing, DV is increasing, because this is what happens when you continue to allow men to run amok in the community with absolutely no consequence. They've been running amok unchecked forever.
Okay, so what do the consequences look like?
No access. No access.
You know what?
Yeah. But also
That's the thing. But that's see. No, right? I have no problem with it. The problem is all they care about is pussy anyway. And if they don't get it from you,
go get this one. That's the point. That is the point.
That's not true. That's not true though. That's not true. I'm going to tell you. Let me just tell you why it's not true. If that was true, if all they cared about was pussy, they wouldn't get married and then have a side chick. They would just stay single and run through women. What men want, what they want. What they would, well, some of them are, and the ones who aren't is because they don't want to be under contract, but they still playing house like they married. The reason being is because they want a woman to emotionally invest in him. He wants her to pour into him. He wants her to be his stress buffer, to give him peace, to cook for him, to clean for him, to basically be his mommy, rub his back, take care of him when he's sick. You're not getting that from just pussy. And you damn sure shouldn't be. Whoever's giving all of that, and this man done told you that the only thing he want from you is sex, you're a damn fool then. Bottom line is, you can easily go get sex. You don't need to sit up in a house with a woman laying in a bed with her pretending to be her girlfriend for sex. You can just go pay a sex worker. They want more than that. They want the investment. They want the woman invested in them. Yes. They want the labor, the advocacy. If they don't have no money, she go give, like, there's a lot of black women. I'm watching Fatal Attraction moving these men into their house within 2 months of meeting them. Within 2 months of meeting them. This man ain't even got to wait 90 days. And he in your house already. So no, they don't just want sex. They want the investment.
I wanna add something to what you said, Stan, because I think it's very important. When you talked about the just the way you explained that was perfectly, and I really hope black women understand that. The putting black men on a pedestal, the being afraid to call the police on a black man. I'm sorry, all years of that is why black men have become even more comfortable with unaliving us. So I want to go back to that. When I'm around, because I don't want to talk about my personal life, but there are certain settings that I'm in where I'm around nothing but black men. Okay. It's so simple, but most black women are afraid to do. Even as I've talked about the two situations of the two brothers in 3 to 2 years apart that was coming towards me, and I told them to stop. And hey, I was about to do what I had to do. And when they heard that click and they realized, oh, she not playing, they went on about their fucking way. So and had they not, they would have been at the coroner's office. It just is what it is. I'm not waiting for no man. And let me be very clear. I don't care about what color you are. The reality of it is I've rejected Hispanic men. I've rejected white tea men. And the only men that felt the need to come to my car harassing me has been black men. Y'all have shown yourselves to be a threat. So I got something to take care of that. And I'm not going to miss because I stay in the range. I'm not going to miss, I promise you. So when I did that, both of them, when I say y'all, they didn't run away. They walked away so fast. It was almost like they just disappeared. I will never forget that. But but that's what I'm saying. When black men know that
Damn, you
black
crazy.
woman will defend herself, they have more respect for you.
Yeah, they do.
And I
Yeah,
really
what she's
want black
saying is
women to
completely
understand that
right.
y'all gotta stop being scared of men.
Yep.
Y'all gonna have to learn how to stand up for yourself at some point.
I
And it's different ways of doing that. But the main way and the safest way, okay, because I'm all the way about that life, but I know most black women ain't. Just call the police. We got to get off of this scared to call 911 on black men. That has
Yep.
been our biggest downfall, because it, just like Sin said earlier, you're more worried about what the cop is gonna. I don't care about what police is gonna do
Right.
to you, but you was about to hurt me, so I don't care about you now.
What else, like, how would you speak to the situations where, you know, the system typically fails women 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, I ain't gonna be extreme, but 9 out of 10 times, they'll call the cops, all they do is write some shit down, she back with the dude because she's been isolated, and if we know how, we can't just put that all on her, because if we understand how abuse works, ain't no woman leaving after the first fucking time. It usually take about 7 times for her to get away. So what would you say to the system still failing her when she is calling the cops, when she is writing all this shit down and she's still getting the fuck over? I mean, that still plays a part into a lot of these situations.
Well, I'm more so. I'm gonna say this because I've never been in domestic violence situations, so I'm not gonna speak on that. I'll let Sin. I don't want to speak on it because I don't. I'm talking about random black men. That's what I'm. Because those are the only situations I've been in, where I'm somewhere minding my business and some random black man trying to holler at me, and because I don't want to talk to him, all of a sudden it's fuck you, bitch, you ugly, you this, and then I'm steady ignoring him, but he's steady coming towards me. I don't know this man. It should be easy to call the police on a black man that you don't know. And black women won't even do that.
I
When
think
you
it.
call the police on a black man that you don't, if you don't know this man is harassing you, but you, and see, this is why I say black women need to change. Like, one thing I love about black men, what I respect about y'all, is y'all know how to compartmentalize. If black women could learn how to do that, we would be better off. Black men know how to look at a random black woman and say, oh, that's not my mom, I don't care about her. We as black women don't know how to do that. We think every black man is our son. We think every black man is our father. That has been our biggest mistake. Stop looking at that man like that's your dad. That's not your dad. You don't know this man, and he is coming up to you trying to harm you, because this happens a lot now. We know that we can't even turn a black man down without wondering if we're going to make it home. That's a problem. And black women, that's what I'm talking about. I can't speak on domestic violence because I've never gone through that. But I'm talking about the random situations where we can't even turn a black man down without wondering if we're going to get hurt. I'm calling the police on you. I don't know you, sir. I don't care what they do. And I'm going to make sure when I call that, I make sure that I say it's a black man. I want them to know that you're black.
I can agree with that. The random situations, like such, you know, women getting shot at the gas station, like they just trying to pump their gas, situations like that, we can speak on those. But a lot of the times, women be in these relationships and they don't start off violent. It don't start off that way. But the whole mask the whole switch up, right? Now she's in an abusive relationship. What do we say about the women who's trying to get away?
So
But
can
yet they're-
so can I speak to that, because I have been in DV, but also my sister, and she spoke on my panel. She was a DV advocate and had gone to court and everything with DV victims. And there's a number of different things that happens within them. First, I think that violence in the black community is so normalized that black women don't see it as domestic violence. So I think we have to start there, because there are certain things that I experienced in my in some of my relationships that were domestic violence, but because they weren't hitting, I didn't recognize them as DV because it wasn't punching me in the face or slapping me or kicking me or anything. So I think that's number one. Number two, the police response depends on where you're at. If you're in a hood, obviously the police response is going to be like it will be for anybody in the hood. But in the suburbs, I can tell you they do come quickly, but you also don't have to call them out to you. You can go online and you can file a report online, literally, and then a detective will call you. Because I did it over stalking. I went online and did a police report, and like 2 days later, a detective called me regarding it. So I also think like a lot of times when we say that the law doesn't take them seriously is because I think that, and one thing I know for a fact, public society's minds haven't caught up to all of the developments in DV. So, if what do I mean by that? If you are repeatedly calling the police over this man beating on you, but never wanting him arrested, they not gonna take you seriously, and that's something that tends to happen. Black women's fear of black men being harmed is what is the problem, because it's like you're still trying to protect this dude, even down to being in the hood. That is a problem, because where are most black men? They not in the suburbs, they in the hoods. So then black women want to be in the hoods because these black men are in hoods, and now they getting pregnant, and now they got kids in the hood, and now their kids are growing up in the hood and with everything that happens in the hood. So with everything, again, it's going to go back to centering black men, especially when proud black women say that one of their core issues is feeling like they're going to lose the person, being afraid that they go lose black men. That is an issue, I think, with black women on a community level, and I think it definitely takes place on an individual relationship level. And if you are going into a relationship with a man whose behavior is completely problematic, but you are afraid to hold him accountable because you don't want to lose him, you're already starting off at the wrong point. And that's given you shouldn't even be in a relationship until you heal some of those abandonment, codependency wounds, because that's probably what's going on. If you're afraid to lose somebody who's abusing you, there's some codependency issues, and you should probably not be dating, you should be in therapy. So that's an issue too, because a lot of black women aren't in therapy. Even after multiple DV relationships, they still won't be in therapy. There are other reasons too. I won't get into them on the DV angle because it will offend black women who just don't want to be accountable. And we do have, and I don't like to parrot dusty talking points, because I do think overall black women take accountability more than black men do. But I think when it comes to individual choices that are being made, this is where I think black women don't really want to be held accountable. They would prefer to be seen as a clueless, dumb victim than to take any accountability over things that they allowed. Now, obviously, anybody who's being abused, you're not allowing someone to abuse you. So we gonna get that straight. You also shouldn't be returning repeatedly to an abuser. You also should not. But I do understand the programming in the community. Black girls are not told walk away from, first of all, they're not even told that black men possibly can be abusive. They're not even told that these males are the biggest abusers. You need to watch out for their abusive behaviors. Here's how you deal with an abusive man. They're not even given that. They're told the black man is everything, protect him from racism, protect him from the police. So now you have a violent bandit in your home, both verbally and physically. But the only thing that's going through your subconscious and conscious man is that I need to protect this black man because he already has a hard time with racism and the police. And if the police come out, the police go shoot him and kill him because he a black man. That's a problem. That's centering black men. That's why you have a perpetuation of violence in the black community, because black women don't want to call the police on these men, because proud black women is right. If a black man know you the type who go put his dumb ass in the system, you think he gonna be routinely knocking your head between the washer and dryer? There's some of them who crazy enough to still do it, but most of them, if they know that you got one time to put your hands on me and you in that damn system and I ain't dealing with you, I guarantee you they go think twice and third before they do it.
And I just want to, you just said that so beautifully, saying, I just want to add this real quick. People they get so mad, and that's why I try to stay off this topic, because I feel like I don't have a dog in the fight. I've never been hit by.
Yep, Shakita Cyborg, absolutely. Remember how Megan? Yep, she did.
Have I had some arguments with men? Yes. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say I had no arguments. I had some arguments. I had some really bad arguments with men in my life. They knew not to put no hands over here. So I say that to say, like, I think the anger, here's the thing about me. I think the anger and hatred that I have for men who abuse women is why I'm so adamant about women just because I don't want Black women to ever feel like they don't have any options.
Yeah.
You do. I think that it's dangerous for us to act like, well, there's just nothing you can do. No, there's a lot you can do. And we can start little by calling the police. And it's sad to me, even when I think, and I don't want to talk about her, but I do remember when Meg Thee Stallion had told a story about how she was dating a guy many years ago, and he put hands on her. And I think, do y'all remember that? And the police saw it and they drove up, and then her first thought was, well, I don't want the police to take him to jail.
Yep.
Do y'all remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And that just sat with me,
Yep.
because I'm like, we as Black women,
Wait, Gayle King?
Protecting bandits.
Which one? Who was she?
this was before the leprechaun scene.
I remember saying
This is before Leprechaun in the Hood.
Short.
The Leprechaun in the Hood.
that she dated when she was really young. And yeah, and you know, she was just saying how they were having an argument. He put hands on her, and the police came up, and she changed her mind, and all of a sudden didn't want. And it just breaks my heart with us as Black women, because we it's almost like in those moments we forget what could have happened to us, and we automatically care about what's going to happen to him. And that is why Black men are the way that they are. I am convinced they are not used to Black women like myself who will.
And it's automatic too.
I'm
And
not
it's
letting no
automatic.
man put hands and feet on me. I'm not. If you look as if you walking up to me, I'm gonna get it popping. Like I have a serious hatred towards that, because I feel like we've let it go, and look where we are now. We have the highest femicide rate. That's what happens when you ignore a problem. I feel like as Black women, if we're honest with ourselves, we can go back to grandma, and we can go back to where somewhere in us I feel like it's a learned behavior where we were just taught that if you just ignore it, it'll go away. Do y'all understand that? I feel like a lot of Black women, our grandparents, grandma, somewhere down the line, Auntie May, if you just ignore it, it'll go away somehow. If we just pray it, it'll go away. It's not going to go away. It gets worse. When you ignore something, it gets worse. And it's going to continue to get worse until you actually face the problem. And now that's what we're trying to do as Black women. And look, but the problem has blown over. So now we have to undo all this. And Black women are just now learning that, you know, I think back then when Black women were seeing Black men, even during the what do you call it, the Black Panther movement, and all that. I'm currently reading Soul on Ice. And it took me guts to read that, because I just, the things that he did, I just never wanted to read the book, but I do want to understand the self-hatred of Black men, and that book is actually helping me even understand it more. But I'm like, Black women knew this back then, when y'all saw that we were supposed to be fighting for ourselves, but yet Black men were still trying to find ways to get into white women's underwear. And y'all continued to support them anyway. Even back then, I would love to sit down and have a question with those women and ask them why did y'all saw the self-hate and the disloyalty and the treasonous behavior back then, and yet you just ignored it. When I was 17 and I was trying to have these conversations, what did Black women do? They just ignored it.
Yeah.
Worse.
Yeah, one of the
Go ahead, say my bad. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say one of the biggest issues, because I agree 100% with you, is that Black women there's too many lies in the Black community. We don't have a community based on the truth, which is really interesting, because we like to say, you know, that we're woke and we keep it real, but we really don't keep it real, especially not when it comes to Black men. And there's a concerted effort to continue to lie about who and what Black men are, because what we often see happening is either white supremacy is to blame for all of Black men's actions, Black women are to blame, or they're just absolutely not doing it. There will be a refusal to accept that they do it. Like the fact that they are violent, the fact that they are predatory, the fact that they do essay the girls in the community before they even turn 18. So there's just too many things that we're still lying about as Black women. We're not admitting that Black men throughout history have actually actually been worse than white supremacy, and they are continuing to be. We're not accepting the fact that if we were under a system that black men ruled, we would be less safe. So if you don't recognize what you're dealing with, you can't deal with it. If you're not going to be honest about who you're dealing with, you can't make the necessary adjustments. And there's too much denial within black women and a refusal to accept who black men are to provoke really any type change. Because first you have to realize they are indeed problematic. They are not kings. They are not wounded warriors. You have to acknowledge that throughout history, they've actually been cowardly, very cowardly. Throughout history, they've been disloyal. Throughout history and presently, they have helped and aided white supremacy, and they're still doing it in the destruction of their own community. And they've never taken accountability for it, and black women refuse to hold them accountable for it. Because as much as we call out white supremacy, and I'm not even saying that we shouldn't, we should absolutely call out white supremacy. We should call it out in black men first and foremost, though. We should be calling it out in them.
So we're gonna start. I think what I want to start doing is start coming back to these conversations every Tuesday if y'all available. We can try to set up,
Yeah.
or whenever y'all available, we can try to do it on Tuesday. But we're gonna go ahead and hop into the religious sector. We're gonna do that for about an hour. And then Cynthia, you have some people in here who follow me, and they are a fan of yours. I know you don't like compliments and stuff like that. I'll do, because I know you got to leave at 3 or somewhere before 4. I want to give those people a chance to come up, because I think some people actually said they agree, and then some people said that they want to talk to you. And you too, probably. I've been seeing them comments. But we can go ahead and talk about the religious sector now. Are we talking about religion specifically?
Yeah, so I have no problem jumping that off because, okay, so obviously I can't be charging my phone while it's up here because it'll fall. Sorry, I'm trying to put my phone on the charger. It keeps falling. Religion is one of the other things that black women won't be honest about. They just absolutely will not. Absolutely refuse to. They won't admit that it's patriarchal. They won't admit that it's hierarchical. They won't admit that it's divisive. They won't admit that it places women beneath what they create. They won't even admit that based on everything that's going on in that Bible, their male God actually has to be evil rather than good. Like to me, I'm hard pressed for seeing the good in it. So, I mean, even when it comes down to religion, which I think has been more destructive to the black community than nearly anything. To me, religion is the most destructive thing that's hit the black community. But we won't even be honest about that. We won't be honest about the fact that it has done nothing to progress the black community. The churches don't help the black. Actually, black churches are one of the legs of white supremacy, and we won't even acknowledge that. So that's the problem.
What about the fact that forced conversion is not how most black people became Christian? What about the Great Awakening or the Second Great Awakening that actually led to a lot of revolts?
To me, listen, fine. You use Christianity to revolt. That don't mean you cling to it. That don't mean you cling to it and you make it your spiritual system. You can take from it what you feel like you need it to empower you.
Wait, who has an echo? See, can you go on mute and then come off mute for a second?
Yeah.
Da.
So what are we doing now?
Somebody said I got an echo. Well, now it's gone. Now come off mute again, Sin.
Now we on it. Let me see something because I need a.
It's not that bad.
Oh.
It's not. We got to deal with it. I can't hear. I don't hear an echo.
I only hear it kind of like a tiny. I can only hear it like a tiny, but it's not super detectable. No.
It's good. They say it's fine. All right. What was I saying? What was I saying? What was the last time I said?
It was about. I know it was about this. I don't even remember.
You said that don't mean that you cling to it.
Yeah, you don't cling to it. Well, like, why would you be clinging to it when, like to me? And I'm trying to not offend people because y'all already know
Speak your mind. I'm a Christian. I'm going to be respectful. Speak your mind because it's not a real dialogue. We can't say it how we feel.
Well, I know. I wish they would just carry that over to my channel. This is the topic black people tend to get triggered the most, especially with me. But I grew up in the church. So I was raised to be a Christian. I inherited Christianity too. Not only did we have to go to church on Sundays, we had to sing in the church, go on Wednesdays, go to youth things on Thursdays, and still have Bible studies at the house. That being said, I've never really aligned myself, not really, with Christianity. I always felt like something was wrong with it. And just observing the dynamics that it caused and how much friction that it caused in my own household, I knew that it couldn't be really any source of God. It was always contradictory to me, multiple points of it. To the degree that in my mom is even here to this day, she would tell you we've gotten to many arguments over Christianity when I was a teenager because it just did not make sense to me. So the issue that I have with black people is that most black people inherited Christianity just like I did. They didn't go on a spiritual quest to figure out who and what was God. They inherited a religion. They don't read their Bible, not really. They don't do any research on the history of it. They just completely believe this male God and all this foolishness in the Bible, even the foolishness that women came from the rib of a man. This is the problem largely that I have with it. It's based on lies. It is very patriarchal. Huh?
Why on that one part?
The notion that a woman came from the rib of a man is not even, it is not just scientifically and intellectually dishonest. It sounds dumb, literally. It sounds dumb.
I can understand. Let's harp on it. I can understand that, right? I can understand how it sounds. But that whole Bible is the fact that he does things that aren't humanly done. Walking on water. You can't walk on water. I can't walk on water. So
Then why ain't he still doing it? Then.
Well, he's not down here.
So he doesn't need to be. He's all powerful. He can do it from the sky.
But I can understand, but he's not down here.
He wasn't down here when he created Adam and Eve either. He supposedly created them from the sky. So again, why can't he continue to create from ribs and dust? Why?
Why didn't he continue creating? Because at that point,
God wasn't walking the earth.
They started populating the earth.
Right, but God wasn't walking the earth when Adam and Eve was created. He spoke, and then Adam and Eve were created.
They said that he was in the garden among them, just like when he visited Abraham.
That was after the creation, though. It didn't. There's nowhere in the Bible does it say that God is on earth blowing smoke into dirt and then it's rising up. That's not the no.
I am saying that there's instances of him walking on the earth.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that was during the creation of Adam and Eve wasn't one of those times. That's all I'm saying. When he was creating Adam and Eve, to my understanding from that Bible, yeah, he did that from the heavens. That's to my so.
He created them from the, like you talking about, like
his location was in the heavens. Basically, his location was in the heavens when he created Adam and Eve. So my question is, why you ain't still doing that? Why you didn't? Here's the thing, and it's also why you didn't do that with Jesus. Why not? Because that's how it started.
Because at that point, that's how they became populated.
How though?
They started populating the earth through them too.
How? When did God say, okay, now after I done created these two humans, now Eve, everything else is on you? When did that happen? I want to see that in the Bible.
We see the birthing of her birthing children. We don't see Adam birthing kids.
Right, but when did it go from God creating them from ribs and dust to her womb? When? Why was there a transition?
He came to know her. Because that know in the Greek means sexual. It doesn't just mean know her as a person. It meant to mean to know her inside out. So
right, but why wasn't that how it started then? Why that's not how it started, or why did the power get transferred?
How could it start like that? Like
you would create Eve first and then have her give birth to everybody after.
You can argue that's good how it been, but at the same time, if he did put him first and everything upon him, I think.
So let me tell you, why can't men just create humans with their ribs then? Why can't men, if the first female human was made by the rib of a man, then how come men can't just do that now? Like, why do they not have any ability, artificially or otherwise, to create any humans from their rib?
Well, I think I think the whole point of that even coming to be is because before he even made Eve, right? God brought him all the animals, and he named every single animal. We're just going about what happened.
Oh, so the animals exist. So the human female, she is even what, secondary to all of the different animal species?
No, that's not how I'm saying. I'm just saying what chronologically.
But the animals was created before her.
Because y'all have dominion over animals too.
No, she has to be, because she was created after all of them. She would have to be. There's no way she's not. She was created last. It sounds like.
That would make sense.
Because if the animals were created and Adam was created before her, then she's not even secondary. She's tertiary at that point.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't spin it like that. I can understand how it sounds. I wouldn't say it like that. But follow.
But that's her order. That's her order in creation. She was third, so she would be.
Adam didn't create Eve though. All
right.
Says is that God took a
right. It says God took a rib from him and created Eve. So I'm just saying, how come they still can't do it?
Created her though.
Right, but how?
I can't take a rib out of me and do it. But what?
Well, you shouldn't have to be able to take a rib out. We should be able to you should be able to literally have something, I don't know, rib fluid or particles or what have you. You should be able to have that extracted from your body, and we should be able to create a human by way of incubator and in vitro based off your rib. That's how we should be able to do it.
That's what it was trying to portray in that story. I don't see that it portrayed that way.
But there's nowhere in the story. But here's the thing, there's nowhere in the story that explains why God stopped using ribs and dust and left it up to Eve's womb. Because really in that Bible, God only created 2 humans, Adam and Eve. That's it. Eve created all of the other ones.
Yeah, God only created two humans, and every other human comes from women.
But why Eve instead of Adam? Why ain't Adam birthing? He was first, so why ain't Adam creating the life? He was first.
I don't think that was Adam's biology to create life.
What? But this is the all-knowing, all-possible God. Why couldn't he just give Adam the biology to create life? He was first. He's the head.
He could.
Yeah, I'm just asking why didn't he? Why didn't he? He's all here. Because here's my thing. I
honestly couldn't answer that.
Here's the thing.
I wouldn't be able to answer why wouldn't God do something.
It makes no sense to have these women birthing these children from her womb, which she's birthing them theoretically into sin and death, which requires another fake birth by a male God. Why, instead of all that, why not just give it to this holy man Adam over here? Since men are second to God, why are they not creating life? It would only make sense that he's the most holy. He's the closest to God. He is not the one birthing into sin. There's no requirement for anything that comes for him to be baptized. He's not even required to get baptized. So he's clearly more closer to God, holier, cleaner than her. Why ain't he giving birth? So that humans don't have to be born into sin.
Why wouldn't he come down as the most effed up thing, which is the man, since he didn't listen? Because it says you hearken on
but that's not what I'm asking. The Bible puts males on a pedestal.
What was the question?
The Bible puts maleness on a pedestal. It puts maleness as second only to God. Why, if males are second only to God and they're most holy, why would God bestow the power of life and existence on the most flawed being that he created, which was clearly the woman? Why? Why not just bestow that power on men?
Why wouldn't he put it on Adam?
Right. Why wouldn't that be a male thing? Why wouldn't it be a male thing to create life?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would think based on how humans acting right now, you see how men are with power. Now imagine a man saying he can create life.
But it doesn't matter how men are acting. That Bible says that men are the head. It says men are the head, men are second to God. In fact, women should treat men the same way they would treat God.
We didn't see nothing like that until a certain verse that talk about a Christian marriage. We didn't see nothing like that.
Yeah, marriage is not a religious concept. The marriage is not a religious concept. It was added into religion later.
The only time we ever saw a verse like that, where it said that man over woman, woman over child, is literally in the concept.
It's
of
there
a
multiple
Christian
times.
marriage.
I know, but it's in there multiple times. It's in there multiple times. It clearly.
I haven't seen. The only time I ever saw something like
We can type into Google now and tell it to pull up all of the scriptures that references men as the head or the lead, and it's going to be numerous. And I know because I've already done this. It's numerous, at least 8 different ones where it's emphasizing that men are the head. Add to that, women have very little, if no power. There's no instance in the Bible where a man is punished for harming a woman or a child. Actually, it may prohibit it, but there's no even explicit. No, there's not. There's no.
Jacob's sister, they harmed their sister, and those brothers went out and killed that man.
No, what did God do? No, what did God do? Because when Cain killed Abel, God punished him. But that was a man killing a man because the men matter. So Cain was cursed. Right. What punishment did God bestow on any man in the Bible for harming any woman ever? Where is the instance?
I can see times where he defended a woman. I don't know. I would have to go back and see specific.
It doesn't exist. I'll tell you, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I've already looked into it. There is none.
I'll go back and find it, and I'll concede, and I'll be like, you know what, you're right. I'll even find that answer to that. If there is none, I'll concede and be like, fine.
There isn't. There's not an equivalent example to the Cain and Abel where someone harmed or killed a woman and God cursed them for killing the woman. There is no equivalent. There's no punishing. There's no nothing. There's no scripture that prohibits abuse against women and children. There isn't one. And even if there isn't no punishment followed it. There isn't one instance in that Bible.
There is a verse that actually says if a woman is raped, he ought to die.
That's great. Yeah, that's raping, though. Is that the only form of harm that a woman can go through? And it actually says a married woman, and it doesn't say a woman. Yeah, but it doesn't say a woman. It says a certain type of woman. It says a married woman or a woman that is a virgin. It doesn't say women. It says these 2 types of women. If you do something to a married woman or a virgin, then yeah. But there is none that puts a consequence or prohibits men from just harming women in general. It's a certain woman of a certain status, and that's married or virgin. Those are the only 2 examples in there. I guess other women, it's just fine to harm them. Either way, there still haven't been, even for those 2 categories of women, there's no verse in there where God has ever punished a man for harming a woman. Ever in the Bible. Not one.
Okay. I wish we had more time. I'll do some digging, and I will come back and be like, if there is no verse in there, when I look it up, I will be like, I concede.
Yeah, but there's multiple where he instructed women and infants to be killed, toe tagged. There's many of them where he authorized the unaliving of women and infant babies. Multiple. This is the problem that I have. And what's more of a problem is that Christians can't.
The killing of men too?
He authorized the killing of women and children multiple times to be carried out by men.
But he also talked about eliminating whole nations of other as men as well in those
okay.
nations.
Okay, but what did the women and children do? Why are the women and children getting toe tagged? The women be what? Because they not virgins? Okay, fine. The women ain't married or virgins.
See, that opens up another theological question, because the thing is, if he create life, now the question is, can he take it? And that's the question that
who, men?
If this God is real and he actually created life, the question would then be, if I own it, am I allowed to take it away? Because that's actually a question that now you have to concede.
Yeah, but the question is, okay, but why are you only punished? Why is there only a punishment for toe tagging a man, but not a woman, though? That's more of the question. Why is there no punishment administered?
Go see if he ever toe tagged. How did he toe tag? I'll have to go look into that one.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I'm telling you, it doesn't exist. It does not exist.
This is so interesting. Like I love I love how y'all can talk about this and we just have a great conversation. Like I wish.
I don't find a reason to. I don't see a reason to get mad. I mean, I want to do it.
And then, okay, here's another question. So here's another question. Why does the male God of the Bible, why does he espouse every character trait that he's telling humans that they need to be saved from?
Such as what?
Jealousy, envy, killing. Like, you have a jealous God, you have an envious God, you have a possessive God, you have a God that will destroy all of these people repeatedly, even though this God has foresight to know how these people are going to turn out because he's all seeing and all knowing. Even though he's all seeing and all knowing, he still is going to create these people knowing that they're not going to do right because he's all seeing and all knowing. And then he's going to destroy them because it's something that he foresaw.
Well, at the end of the day, now, if you talk about jealousy, again, these words translated in English.
That's a human trait, though. That's a human trait. That's a flawed human trait, though, right?
Jealousy in a certain manner, yes.
Right, that a God probably.
What did he say? He said, I am a jealous God, right?
Yeah, but question, when has jealousy ever produced any positive results? Let's just go down that road. When has jealousy ever produced any good?
It never produces a positive result.
Right, so why is there a jealous God? So why is there a jealous God? But a jealous God who's telling the humans that he created that they're too sinful.
Why shouldn't he be jealous?
Jealousy is one of the 7 deadly sins. How does that work? Why is your God espousing and literally having the character trait of something that he deemed one of the 7 deadly sins? Jealousy.
That's an easy answer in my honest opinion. Jealousy, right? You as a human, I know what's best for you, right? Don't do these things. His jealousy, if I'm God, I'm the creator, and you end up worshiping something else.
Why do you need to be jealous? You're all powerful. Like, if I'm the all powerful #1 head honcho God, why am I jealous of every other lesser peasant God? That doesn't make any sense. Why would I be jealous of something that's less than me? Then it's not given. Christians have to be Christians under coercion, not choice. Because if you don't, it's given.
That still is a choice, though.
Coercion is not a choice.
No, not coercion, not the word coercion. No, I'm saying it is a choice for you to be a Christian because he's not forcing you. Nowhere does he force. He didn't force nobody.
If you tell a woman if she don't consent to being with you, you're going to harm her. What do you think is going to happen to you?
Where did God say if you don't consent?
In the Bible, it says if you are not a Christian, if you do not believe in God, you are condemned to hell. If you don't believe Jesus is your savior, you are condemned to hell. This is not a choice. This is this is authoritarian. No, it's not. It's coercion. It's coercion. It's saying that if you don't do this, sure, you cannot choose it, but then I'm going to exterminate you and everything you touched in your whole bloodline. That's coercion. Then try it in real life. Then try it in real life and see where you end up. If it's a choice, try it in real life.
Wait, tell me, why would he bring you into heaven when you said, if you cursed him, you don't care. You said, I'm going to do all these things. I died for you. I already gave you a way out. Why would I bring you into heaven? Go out and live the way you want to. When you die, you won't get here.
Then why don't you do it and tell that to this Christian nation? You have a Christian administration now, so you should be able to do that freely and just not ever go to jail. Just do it freely. Just go tell a woman if she don't engage in any behavior that you telling her to engage in. You can just go tell her if she don't believe in you, you go kill her. Go do it and see where you end up.
I don't think that's the same. I'm trying to understand the principle.
It's literally the same as requiring Christians to believe in him and worship him or they're going to get destroyed. It's literally the same thing. Literally the same thing. It is coercion.
But the correlation between the woman, who's telling the woman to...
No, I'm saying that if you believe that that's not coercion, if you believe that that is a choice, if you believe that a person can consent in a situation like that, then I'm saying go do it in real life. Demonstrate it in real life. And let me see how that works out with this Christian nation.
I don't think the same principle applies in that type of example, but I can understand how you're trying to correlate it.
It's not a choice. It's coercion. It is not a choice. It is coercion.
What would you want the choice to be?
You
have the choice to.
you can choose. A choice will be you can choose to worship me or not. That's the choice.
You can choose to follow, obey,
Or not.
choose to live the way you want to. The choice is yours.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's you can choose to believe in me or you condemn to hell. That is the choice. There is no other choice in reference to Christianity. No, it's not. Because why can't I just choose to not worship you and not be condemned to hell? That's why it's not a choice. If the threat is looming there, if there is a threat of, because they're the threat of not doing it. Because they're the threat of not doing it. Once you put a threat of not doing it there, it's not a choice now. It's not a choice. Now it's survival. No, now it's survival.
Do you think you would deserve, let's just talk contextually in the Bible. Do you think that person who didn't want to choose him, didn't live for him, didn't do anything for him, should go to heaven just as long as the...
I think they should be left alone. I think they should be left alone. I think that they should simply be left alone. His rules shouldn't apply to a person who does not want to believe in a God that they ain't never seen. No, your soul is condemned. You're not. Your soul is condemned to hell. They are not left alone. Their soul is being condemned to hell. So that this is one of the other things I don't like about Christianity. It's so dishonest because you honestly do have to be dishonest to defend it, that the people defending it end up being dishonest. We already know what the definition of coercion is. We already know the definition of consent. It is not consent at all if you are dangling a punitive consequence against somebody's head if they don't make the choice you want them to make. That's just like a man saying, oh, well, if you don't willingly give me your body, I'ma take it. And then she consents because she wants to have the control, so he ain't taking it. She still didn't have a choice because either way he took it. Either way he took it. So, I mean, either way she got a consequence.
I understand the principle and the correlation that you're trying to do. I understand it. The thing is, you have to show that God is forcing you to choose him or not. Can you show what he's forcing you?
Is he following? Is he giving a consequence if you don't? Is there a consequence if you don't?
Yes.
Okay, then it's not a choice. Then we can rest on that. If there's a consequence if you don't choose what he wants you to choose, then it's not a choice. A choice is when you get to choose.
But am I forcing you to choose it though?
Yes, because there's a consequence behind it.
There's all kinds of things in life where you have to choose right or wrong. That's on you. That still is your freedom.
No, because there's no choice to choose right. The only right that you're choosing is him. If you choose anything other than him, you are condemned to hell. You're condemned to hell. So there is the only choice that's being given is choose me. That's the only choice. The only positive outcome you're gonna get is if you choose this male God. That's coercion.
But it's still not force.
It is coercion. It's coercion. No, he's not physically making her do it. It's coercion. It is coercion. It is not consent. It is coercion. It literally, by definition, is coercion.
I can understand the principle. I'll leave it. I can understand the principle.
Can I jump in here? Because that's interesting. So I'm just watching the comments and it's all over the place. I feel like a lot of people not understanding, but so I'm just gonna speak for me, right? I personally believe that everybody has the right to believe in, whatever God or whatever not you want to believe in. That's something that I don't get into. But I do want to say when it comes to Black women and how the church has affected us has been astronomically dangerous.
Yep.
Just the way that Black women are told to stay in relationships that don't benefit them. I've seen it. I've heard the conversations. The preacher know that the husband beating on her, but still tells her that you need to stay with him anyway because that's what God told you to do. I ain't with that shit. I just feel like everybody should have their own personal beliefs and whatever God they want to serve. I don't feel like, I'm gonna be honest, I just feel like Black women need to get out of the church.
They do.
I'll just say
They do.
flat out because it just and here's the thing too. Most Black women, here's my issue. Most Black women do believe that God is a Black man. They do.
Yeah,
and
they do.
There's your problem. And they believe that because of that one scripture that talks about his hair being a wool. I don't care nothing about that. You're not, to me, you're not going to convince me that God is a black man when black men are literally out here destroying their community. You're just not going to be able to convince me that he's a black man. And I feel like because, I'm going to speak for me, because I don't believe that God is a black man, that's why I don't have this overly love for black men. I think that that's where it starts. It goes from black women thinking that God is a black man. So there's your first worship, and then it goes to actual black men that we call kings. So you feel like you have to stay in these abusive situations because God is the black man. That is the problem.
So I'll say this. I agree with sin in both of y'all. I know the church has been problematic. A lot of them. I know that the certain scriptures have been manipulated to talk shit. Sorry, cursing. To basically keep women in shackles. I get that. The thing I'm saying is, I'm not going to be able to sit here and say that the founding church, especially the disciples that we're reading about, was doing things like that, or even most churches are moving it that way. Now, here's the problem. The accountability in the church for the man has not been good. The accountability seems to always be on the fucking woman.
It's literally been non-existent.
Sin, I couldn't hear you.
It's literally been non-existent. Accountability for men in the church is non-existent. There is none. None.
I agree with that. I agree the way the church has operated and using certain verses to talk trash about women and manipulate women, like all the red pill stuff. They even pull certain Bible verses to try to use it against you. The reason why I am so quick to defend it sometimes is because there are thousands of verses that literally talk about men, the whole dang thing talking about how trash men are, but they purposely avoid those. And nobody goes to those to check the man, but they're quick to go to the verses that literally only probably mention women what? A few times, but all these trash men throughout the Bible, cheating, doing corruption, unaliving, the great, all these things, they don't even address those. And I'm saying they were manipulating and using the scripture. A lot of these pastors are like the slave master. So I have no problem in calling that out. But I do think the church has done a lot more harm. And we can say this too. Yeah, black women, y'all typically tend to be more religious and spiritual than your own group of men in the community. I mean, plus you've always been there. Even if you want to take away Christianity, take away Christianity.
But
who's the most spiritual person in the community?
But here's the problem, Shannon. Hold on, though, because don't you see a problem with the fact of, because this is the core problem that I have with the Bible. Yes, the Bible does talk a lot about the evil, sinful ways of men.
Hold on, Sin. They got that echo again. Can you come off mute? I mean, go on mute and then come off again.
Okay, is it there? What are we doing? Is it?
It's not there no more.
Okay. So the Bible does talk a lot about the wicked, evil, and problematic ways of men, but it also places them as the leaders and the head of women and children. So it also places them second to God. So that in and of itself is also highlighting a problem with the Bible, because it's literally saying the Bible is so patriarchal and on par with human thinkings that the flawed man and all of his flawed deviltry and wickedness, he is still better fit to lead humanity. Mind you, that he can't even create than a woman is. And I'm going to let these women, I'm going to bestow the power on these women to give life and determine who gets to exist. But I'm going to put her under the authority of this very flawed male who is evil and wicked in all his ways, and who I've had to destroy multiple times because I can't even create him to not be wicked. That right there is a problem in and of itself. It literally mirrors this society that we live in that says that a criminal man, a man who's a criminal and adjudicated rapist who has spent his history committing adultery, he is better suited for leadership than an overqualified woman who has none of that in her background. So literally that Bible represents human thought process. That's why their God embodies human traits. Their God embodies, he's war hardy, he's jealous, he's vindictive, he's vengeful, he's violent. So like this is why your creation is wicked, because you're wicked. You haven't overcome the negative human traits that you want humans to overcome. But your God embodies them. He's war hardy, he's jealous, he's vengeful and vindictive. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Go slaughter everybody, including all the infant babies. The reason why your creation man is so damn flawed, because he's flawed. Like literally, if you compare the actions of the biblical God with what it describes Satan, who worse? Who really worse?
Say.
No, Satan wasn't telling people to go slaughter whole groups of people, including the infants and women.
Say it again.
Yeah, Satan wasn't.
Phone call came on the phone. My bad.
Yeah, I'm just saying Satan is not the one who authorized the toe tagging of women and children multiple times. Or who authorizes the raping of women.
He is the one who did say that he wanted to be above God and go out tempting people to turn their back on God.
If you accept who God is, I would want to be above him too.
But I can admit to you, there's no verse. I don't see where it says that men are second to God.
No, it just positioned the hierarchy and says, well, the only people who are on the planet is animals and women. Yeah, and it places men at the top. If it says men are the head, men are the lead, and it says God, man, women, children,
it does. That's why I'm saying I have no problem admitting the Bible is patriarchal. If this is the order that he wanted, then that's fine to say that the Bible is patriarchal. Men above woman, woman above children, blah, all that good stuff.
But isn't that a problem? Because if it's not, then that means somebody tampered with it and is lying and it's not valid. And if it is, then it means there's a huge flaw with your male God. Either way, it's not good.
I don't know if it's a flaw with him.
No, it is definitely a flaw with him.
What's the flaw?
His flaw is that he cannot create something that embodies the character traits that he wants them to embody. That's the problem.
But how can God not do that when people chose to go against him?
Why don't he creating them? Because he creating them. That's how he's creating them.
But you have a free will.
But you don't have free will to choose him. You don't have free will to choose him. So why do you have free will for other things?
But you do.
No, you don't. Choosing him is coerced.
There's consequences in. Hold on.
Choosing him is coerced. Choosing him is not a choice. It really is not a choice.
If you took away hell, would it then be a choice?
Yes. If you took away the threat of a consequence, then yes, it will be a choice. Once you put a consequence there, it is not a choice. It's survival.
But do I have free will in this society? Or am I coerced in this society?
No, you have free will. You do have free will. But you have free will within the confines of the white supremacists who dominated our community. That's what you have.
So you don't have free will in the same way that you can choose God and not choose him?
The black community has been conquered.
There's consequences for your actions.
Right? So what was black people's consequence for defying God? What, slavery? Complete racial domination that we in now?
And that's why I think black people have a emotional. Oh, there's a guy going to go again. Black people, I think, have an emotional connection to slavery, even though a lot of us technically never went through what they went through. Now, and we gotta keep this in the confines of what's going on. They took parts of a Bible and went to Old Testament and used it against your ancestors. But the Bible was already a completed book. That Exodus.
Why were they able to? Why were they able to? Why were they able to use that against anyone? Why were they able to? Probably because it's up to interpretation. That's probably why, because it's up to interpretation. And anybody can use it to justify anything that they do. They can simply say love covers a multitude of sin. They need to say nothing more than love covers a multitude of sin. They need to say nothing more than the Bible says there's a time to toe tag. And this was just a time to toe tag, apparently. So you can justify anything using that Bible. Any type of evil, any type of deviltry. I'm still trying to figure out what goodness it brought to humanity. Maybe you can answer that question. What good has Christianity brought to humanity? I'll wait. In what ways have it made humans better?
I wouldn't be able to speak on how Africa became a better place or anything like that. I do think that when it comes to salvation, that's the only thing that I will say that hey, you have redemptive qualities. You have the will to change, things of that nature.
They would have that without religion. They would have the will to change without religion. They would have redemptive qualities without religion.
It depends on what ways you saying, like what betterment has come through Christianity.
Yes.
A lot of places that were in chains became free because
no, it didn't. It didn't. No, they became free in spite of it. They became free in spite of it, not because of it, in spite of it. Because the religion isn't designed to make you free. It's designed to hold you captive. Just like it said, slave, obey your masters. So the religion is supposed to keep you a better slave. If you're revolting, then you're doing it in spite of the religion, because the religion is there to keep you as a good, docile, submissive slave. That is what the Bible says. So when they revolt, they're not going by the Bible. They're going against the Bible. They're doing it in spite of the Bible. They know that the Bible is there, but they're doing it in spite. Much like how black people fornicate in spite of the Bible. You know you ain't supposed to. You know, as a Christian, you ain't supposed to be lying and bearing false witness. They lie and they bear false witness. They do that in spite of the Bible too.
Yeah, like, so people not listening to what it's. What about those moral codes alone?
No, what I'm saying is that Christianity has not bettered humanity. It has made humanity worse. And I can outline in some very specific ways the way it brought negativity. I'm just trying to figure out what good have it brought first.
Well, I can see it and say, in the way, I don't know how to answer in what you mean by good in this context.
Well, I'll give you an example. Systematic misogyny. Christianity specifically brought in systematic misogyny, the stripping of women's rights, the justification of SA and abuse, even owning children as property, slaving humans. It is divisive. You have a whole bunch of different sects. Oh, you need to cut your family members off if they don't believe this. Don't go around nobody who don't believe the way that you believe. It's literally eliminated the critical thinking of black people. It causes them to defend their oppression rather than fight it. It makes them think that it makes more sense to go lay up with and build with their oppressor rather than fighting it. They defend abuse. They justify child neglect and harm based on that Bible. You can literally have a promiscuous man standing there in the pulpits living completely differently than what he is preaching with zero accountability. Mind you, that Bible talks about accountability all over it. Ain't none of it given to no man in no church. Absolutely.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's good in it, but they using it for bad.
So if there's good in it, then what is the good? What is the good that is produced? What is the good outcome?
The good is the fact that accountability is in the Bible, but they're not using it.
Would humans have accountability without Christianity?
A certain level, yeah, sure.
Yeah, they would. So that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
How did you track back? How did you track back before Christianity that things were better? It's not about things being better. I'm saying things are the same. People had tribal ways, and people actually, especially Africans, because if you read that letter from King Leopold when he was going into the Congo to harvest rubber, what he said upon going over there is that
These black people, Africans over here, or black people, Negroes, whatever you want to call them, they don't know a God. Well, they have their own God. They don't know who Jesus is. They ain't never been to a church, but they still have all of these principles that is in the Bible. They already knew that the Africans already had those principles. They already knew not to kill, steal, and do all of the things that's in the Bible. And some of them were operating that way. And that is what King Leopold observed when he went over there. And then they still gave them Christianity. They said it will be easy because some of the principles are already the same. They're already familiar with these principles, even though this is not their religion. You can look and just study over history. Humans had moral codes and literally statutes to prevent degenerate behavior that men engage in without Christianity. Christianity didn't bring that in. In fact, the only thing that Christianity does in reference to criminals and bad behavior is cause people to forgive it, overlook it, and defend it. And saying, oh, he a man of God. Let God deal with that man.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
But that's literally what they do.
But I'm sorry, I had to laugh, but that was funny the way she said that also. Okay.
It doesn't even help individual Christians be better individual people. They're always a work in progress. Like when you hear things like every saint had the past and every sinner had the future. Okay, so you can be stuck in the work in progress phase then. So all you got to do is say, I'm a work in progress. You ain't never getting to the progress. But with Christianity, that's fine because there's no code of behavior or conduct in order to be a Christian. And there's no behavior that you can engage in that will prevent you from being a Christian, because the only requirement for Christianity is not that you be a good person, not that you change your behavior, but that you believe in and accept the male God.
That's not actually how that works, because
it is. You simply have to accept them into your heart. That's all you have to do is accept the male God and believe in him in your heart. That's all you got to do is to be a Christian.
So he said, put my words into practice and follow. You can't just say, I believe in you and you're going to heaven. That's not what that means. Because even in the Greek,
sure it does.
Also means following.
No, there's no requirement though for them to follow. If you can be exiled for Christianity because of X behavior, whatever you want it to be, which you can't, then there is no requirement for behavior change. No, it's not, because they can always be. They're a work in progress. They're a work in progress.
They literally exiled people out the church in the gospel in Acts. A man was exiled because he was putting on a front, acting to be a Christian, and they gave him.
Who's doing it today except for Jehovah's Witness? And right now, the only religious group that we see do that.
Your mic went low on the first beginning of your sentence when you said it.
I said, and still the primary group that outcasts people from churches is not Christianity, it's Jehovah's Witnesses. So even still, the way it operates, the way it functions is not to hold anybody accountable. And that's why there's no accountability here. Black women won't even divorce their husbands when they cheat, even though the Bible says committing adultery should be met with divorce. So at the end of the day, what's happening is they're worshiping men. They're worshiping men.
That's what I'm saying. They have took men, a lot of people have misrepresented that word, and they won't even say that, and they preach about forgiveness, and they used it to weaponize it against women. Now, the problem I would have is, if you read that Bible in context, is the Bible wrong, or is that person that's using it wrong?
The Bible is completely wrong, because I'm not seeing what you're seeing in it. Because I think that, here's the thing, you have large bodies of people, millions of people. There are millions of Christians. We can just restrict it to this country. Most of the people in this country are Christians. Yet overall, Christianity ain't even stopped white people from hating black people. It ain't even stopped that. In fact, they'll justify the hatred. Black people justify hatred towards different people with the Bible too.
Just because they got that echo again. Can you put it on mute again? I agree with that statement. I have my own view on that. You come on mute now. The echo should be gone. Okay. I agree with that statement, by the way.
Yeah, but they don't. Like you see.
I see to what she just said. I have nothing to say on that last part.
Every scammer person, what do? They invoke, oh, what did Cheyenne Bright? Oh, I'm only answering to God. And then what did a bunch of people in the comment section? Oh yes, God is only judge, juror, and executor. So now they're dealing with a scammer who's going around saying that she planning people's head and taking advantage of their trauma when she's not trained to do so. And now that's fine, because she just invoked God. Anybody, all they need to do is invoke Christianity, because there's no requirement on changed behavior. That's why no one has to change their behavior. They simply just say, I'm a work in progress. I only got to answer to God. Only God can judge me. And then it's okay, cool. Let's continue to throw out our money to you. Let's continue to allow, like, even when I was watching Fatal Attraction, there's an episode on there where the pastor was married. He was a married man. He was cheating on his wife with another woman who he had promised to marry after impregnating her. So he had children outside of his marriage with her. Bible didn't stop it. He was a pastor. He ended up toe tagging her. The church went and bailed him out. The church went bailed him out and said, no, he didn't do that. That's a man of God. This man done literally set up here and toe tagged this woman because he was committing adultery. He was committing adultery as the pastor, though.
Again, a lot of people read their Bibles and don't actually follow it.
But I'm asking, why is there so many of them? Why is there so many of them? Why is it that this is the only outcome of religion? There is no good positive outcome that religion has uniquely brought, and that's why no one can name it. No one can name it because it don't exist.
I wouldn't be able to name how it measured or how it is better. I'm not gonna lie to you. You got me on that one. Why is there so many of them? I mean, men specifically, have always taken something and used it for bad. It don't even have to be the Bible. It could be anything. They've always manipulated things. They've always been crooked. They've always done the most effed up stuff. They've always been selfish. They've always used things for their own personal gain. So, I guess you could say that there would be a lot of people that would even use religion or even weaponize some type of spiritual practice to gain something financially, or even to seem higher than thou, you know.
It also says God is in the heart. It also says that God is in the heart of his followers, though. So nobody should be able to twist it. Nobody should be able to twist with something and use it against you when you know the truth in your heart. But anyway, that's just what the Bible says.
But that's another thing, Cynthia. That's the thing. A lot of people are claiming that they Christian. Even if you, since you say you read this, right? You remember when Paul said these so-called brothers and sisters among us. So-called, meaning they're walking around with the title of Christian. They're even acting to be a Christian. They may even have their own church. They were referred to as wolves in sheep's clothing. Jesus even said that this would happen too. So yes, a lot of people are going to be walking around with the title of Christianity, and yet you're going to see them for who they truly are eventually. That's why he's not confused by it. He knows the heart. You won't. That's why it says judge them by their fruits. Eventually that mask will fall off. But you've always seen people do that. So again, I mean, a lot of people go infiltrate the church. There's been misrepresentations of what a Muslim is. There's been misrepresentations of other spiritual practices. So to ask why so many of them, because people use things for bad. Well, men specifically. Women do use things for bad too, but I don't care about that because women out here
Can I ask something real quick? I just want to say this too, because I saw it in the comments there, because I'm watching the comments and they are funny. If we go back, one of the things that just always irritated me about the church, especially when it comes to women, is this idea that we'll just give it to God, we'll just pray about it, but you don't think that you have to do anything. And so that takes me back to what I was saying earlier, where it's like Black women really feel like you can just pray and just sit back and watch, that you don't have to do nothing. Like you really believe, like you waiting on somebody else, like nobody, like if we look at the Black community.
But crowd, it don't even say, but that's the core thing. It's a prayer and works. It's a prayer without works. It don't just say prayer. And most people not even reading it for themselves. That's what I'm saying. Is it the Bible, or is it that you not actually doing what it say? Because if you think, oh God, please help me, please, everything gonna be, that's stupid.
Yeah, it is. But that's what I'm saying. Like, where does that come from? So sin. That's. Do you understand what I'm saying? Where we as Black women, as a collective, not me, but as a collective, just think that we can just sit back and pray and just somehow God gonna fix it. Like, even right now with the Black community, I don't think that anybody's just gonna come down here and fix the issues that we're facing. I think that you're gonna have to start doing something. And I feel like if we had done this earlier, 200, 300 generations ago, we wouldn't be where we are today.
It actually says,
Where does that come from? Where Black women feel like all you gotta do is pray about it and that'll change it. Where does that come from?
I don't see I don't see not one verse that you should pray. He said you ought to pray, but it also says faith without works is dead. You can have as much faith as you want in your prayer, but if you're not actually putting in the work towards something, no results.
Can y'all put a 1 in the chat box if you're not able to hear him? Because I need to know who all isn't able to hear.
To just fix it. I just think that's ignorant. I never understood.
Because a lot of y'all look like you are able to hear because you're commenting on it.
She might be talking to you too, my bad. Oh, so like that's what I'm saying. I think people are not actually reading. And I don't think nobody's actually tried to even go deep dive into other things, even going to the whatever. I do think that the church, especially the Black church, has manipulated scripture to specifically target women to keep them in shackles. That is a problem.
Okay, what about
I don't
now?
know if I could throw away the whole thing and be like, I'm not gonna be able to do that. I don't know if I can be able to throw away Jesus because he's not Black.
Okay, let me see if I can put it on here.
Make him Black. He's not Black. Even say his hair is like wool.
That's the first time I've heard a Black man.
He's not Black. He's a freaking Middle Eastern man. He's not dark skinned like you. I mean, he's not chocolate like you and I. If you look at the region where he was born in, you would see what those people look like. He's not me. But they taken certain verses to be like, his skin was like bronze and his hair was like wool. It says like bronze and like wool. If you actually look up what that translated into the Greek, it meant olive green. If you look at what olive green is and how those people look, you will be seeing that he's more of a Middle Eastern man. Not this. He doesn't look like me, doesn't look like you. It's a Middle Eastern man. That y'all can do, that people can do basic research on this. It's not hard to tell. You can look up the original look of Jesus and you can see exactly what it looked like. But anyway, that's another story. That's another story.
Hold on, you guys. I'm trying to put this on the big speaker.
But
give me a second.
Connected to Galaxy S26 Ultra.
But you know,
okay, there we go.
I digress.
I think Black people just wanted something to hold on to. If we just look back,
I get it because even like white people made them white, and they believed Black people made them Black, and a lot of them believe. Some people probably try to make the image of Jesus fit their race so that he can be more relatable. But at the end of the day, he is who he is. Where he was born matters. You can look up what the people of Nazareth look like. You can look up what those people look like, and you can see that he's not going to be like me. He's not going to have this type of. But anyway, that's another story.
Okay, so could I say something really quickly? Because here is my core issue with Christianity and the response of they're just using it to. They're taking the word and twisting it. The reason I can't buy that is because there's too many people operating the same way. There's way too many people, way too many Christians, and I would venture to say nearly all of them, because I've never met one who wasn't a problem. In fact, people tend to get worse when they become a Christian. They start lying more. They start being more deceptive. They start manipulating people using the Bible. So to me, I don't believe that this is just an issue, because then you would have to tell me, well, what part of it that you think that they took and manipulated? Because if you're saying that they took the Bible and white people, you're saying white people changed the Bible, white supremacists, what part did they change then? Then what part did they change? And then you should be able to clearly identify the deception, and the deception therefore should not work. So this is why I can't accept, oh, they just twisted the word. But you know they twisted the word. So then don't go by the twisted word. Why would you go by the twisted word?
I'll give you an example. So watch this. So when Africans were brought over on slave ships, and that completed Old Testament story was already done. They had the New Testament. None of that, all that other slavery that happened to the JEWs and stuff was already over with. They went specifically to a point in time of a Bible, took out verses, and then been like, this is you. You don't think that's manipulating a story that's already happened to try to make you slaves right now?
I think that if you're a group of people who you can be told that a book says certain things about you and you believe it, I really feel like that's on you. Like can't nobody bring me a random Bible story and say you're the group of people that's being referred to in this book. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me. Because we know for a fact that's not how Black people acquired Christianity anyway. We know that it was, and even in Ethiopia, because I know people are going to talk about, oh, the Ethiopian Bible, and it was in Ethiopia. No, it wasn't. It wasn't in Ethiopia until the white Persians took it to Ethiopia, and that's how it got there. No, we were not saying that Ethiopia was colonized. We're saying that it was invaded, and when it was invaded, that's when Christianity got in there. Christianity is not a religion that is native to the continent or African people. It just isn't. But blaming all of this on, oh, well, the problems with Christianity is that they took the word and they twisted the word. Okay, but that doesn't account for the fact that there's no good being brought from it. Because if they twisted all of the word, and that's the reason why Christians act this way, then you should be discarding it.
Well, I wouldn't say that they twisted all of the word. I'm saying that people, a lot of people are opportunists, and you have pulpit pimps that will use something for financial gain. So if I look the part, and it's not even just the Bible. Sometimes if I just look like the part of a decent guy, right? And I just get up here and start, just like, I'll give you an example, panders, actual panders. Get up here, look good, say the right shit towards fucking women, and they get financial gain. But yet a Black woman who's saying the same fucking shit, calling out niggas, why that Black woman ain't getting support? And then it's so many men that's doing it, saying the right shit so they can get financial gain out of women and their whole life change. So I'm saying a lot of people can look the part of a decent pastor, speak as a goddamn Black Baptist church deep voice guy, read a few scriptures here and there, and specifically avoid verses calling out me. I'm holding people accountable, but pander to a Black woman audience to get them stuck and get them out their money. That's all I'm saying. So they'll take certain things out and use it for financial gain.
Right. But what I'm talking about is, why is it that, what is the reason? And if we're saying it's because the word was manipulated, then we need to turn the discussion somewhere else. But what is the reason that Christianity has not brought any unique good to humanity? That's we still stuck on that question, because I feel like everybody in here could name at least about 4 or 5 ways in which at least I can tell you, and I've already told you 4 to 5 ways in which Christianity has uniquely brought negativity, bad things to humanity. It literally changed humanity for the worse, but no one can tell us how it changed it for the better. So that's fine. We can say the scriptures were manipulated. Okay, that's fine. Sure. Are we saying the whole Bible was manipulated, or is just certain ones? Okay.
So like, it depends on how you measuring the good, because if we start looking at, Harriet said God led her out the way, right? Led her the way, right? What God was she talking about?
Okay, let me just ask these questions. This will be better. I'll just ask you questions like this. Has it made humans less murderous?
No.
Has it stopped humans from essaying?
No.
Has it unified humans?
No.
Has it made them more?
No.
Has it made them more honest?
Absolutely not.
No.
Has it made them more kind, caring, and empathetic?
No, not in general. No.
Exactly.
I never thought about.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No.
So
Wow.
the religion
No,
is
I mean,
not even accomplishing the goal that the religion is supposed to accomplish. It hasn't gotten humans to stop chasing materials. Now you have these prosperity pimp pastors who need $50 million
My
jets.
computer just shut down on you. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
Come
fine.
back. I'll come back.
Yeah, yo, you mean on the YouTube end? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, on the YouTube, it just said restarting.
Right. That's what I mean
Oh,
when I say how has it improved? Has it improved humanity? And if there's a religion that has not even improved humanity for the better, but we can identify and we're living in the consequence of some unique harms that it brought to humanity, then that's when it's time to discard it. Only a fool will continue to believe in a doctrine that they can't even identify anyway, especially when the core goal of it is supposed to be to make humans less sinful. It has not done that. It's, in my opinion, has made them more sinful, really, because they can be insulated and covered by the religion.
Give me 1 second. Once because it's an echo. Yaz, or Jazz. You sending a lot of shots, and I'm literally having a respectful conversation. My computer literally did restart. I don't know what you're doing insults in there.
Is that Yasmin?
It's a woman named Yasmin. Yeah, like I'm like, what do you?
Where am I at? Like, why is she just running her mouth?
I don't know, because I'm trying to give her a chance. But I don't even want to censor women. So my computer just restarted, but I'm still here. I didn't end the live here, and Cynthia G will have a copy of the damn live of this one that's going to be sent as well. So
The first
you
question
can believe I'm getting cooked. I mean, that's fine. I mean, we're having a conversation. Some people gonna win you over, some people not. But Cynthia G is a friend. I'm not even.
Yeah, it's not about getting cooked.
The first question she asked though was, "Are you married?" I don't know how. Here's the thing: we got how many people in here? I don't know how y'all still don't know that Shannon is married. Like when they come here and ask that question, it just irritates me because it's like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? But at the end of the day, he is a married man. So that was the first question that she asked. Okay. Yes, he's married. But what's up? Like what? I don't understand what her point is. But she's derailing the chat. Yeah, where the mods at?
I got it. Don't even worry about it. I'm a mute you up because I don't believe in kicking you out of the conversation. But like the disrespect is crazy. Like anyway. Yeah. So to answer your question, no, I think it work. I think it's coming to work for whoever it needs to work for. If you want to talk about has it done good in general, I will, in the way that you're asking a question, I will say, I don't know how to measure that, but I would be more so willing to say, no, people are still crooked. I think that the gospel would be the most essential part of why that came to be, but I don't want to go into the theological conversation of that. But no, I can see to you and be like, I don't think it's done good in the way that you're saying. Has it stopped rape? Has it stopped murder? It stopped nothing. It didn't stop nothing in that regard. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, but see,
Some of the most.
let me go.
Some of the most. I'll say this too. Some of the most. Look, some of the worst people, I'm sorry, that I have been around just in conversations, just in passing, were those that go to church every Sunday. Like she at every church meeting, she baking cookies for the whole church, but the biggest hypocrite. I can't fuck with them. Like I can't. Respectfully. Like it's like I don't understand how you go to church as much as you do and behave this way. It never made sense to me. And even when it comes to the men, and we notice that black men do that a lot on here. Like y'all be the main ones as a group collectively disrespecting black women, not taking care of your kids, wanting several women to be with, but then you'll come into these lives and then you wanna talk about Ephesians chapter 6. Like nigga, do you even know what Ephesians chapter 6 says? So it just, that part I just never understood about people who, and what do we call them? Is it?
I mean, I can't like hypocrites. I can't. I
But
can,
it's so many of them.
I can see how that, because a lot of them are like, they not even trying to like really, a lot of them people don't read their Bible to themselves. A lot of this stuff became routine.
Mm-hmm.
So like it became routine in your family, but you're not reading what's in there. Like I respect someone who read it and don't believe, instead of people who just going to church because their family members passed it down to them, and you just going on Sunday. Oh, I gotta go to church this Sunday. I gotta go to. I'm participating, but you don't care to know anything, and then you go outside of there and then go do some goddamn stupid stuff. So I do see that dynamic as well of people just going to church because it's routine. It's not something that they actually interested in. They're not trying to change their life for better. They're not reading their Bible. The only time they open their Bible is when the pastor say go to a verse. So yeah, I mean, I can see why a lot of them
Thanks, Eric.
no true change in their life, and why they disrespectful, because they don't even care. They don't even care about what they read. It's routine. It's not a practice. That's the problem. They're not practicing what they're learning. What they being taught is just routine. It's just something to do. Going to church a lot of times nowadays is like going to the club.
Yeah, and there's all kind of sinful behaviors that take place right in the church, right by the people who are promoting it. So I think that's one of the core issues too, because the people who are preaching the so-called word of God don't even really believe the word of God, nor do they live the word of God. And I think
But have you actually had a church that actually was doing that? Have you ever looked into those churches that were doing that?
No, I've never known a church that didn't prioritize money above parishioners and saving souls. It's about money. It's about money. That's what it is.
I think you should look into those.
Like I think religion is one of the biggest money makers and tools of controlling behavior, because if you look at it, even the way people will construct their relationships and their family dynamics, they'll even do that based on religion. People are out here voting based on this religion, mind you, voting to oppress and disenfranchise other people. So consistently we see how Christianity is not producing any betterment in humans, and in fact what it's doing is enabling humans to engage in more deceptive behavior and get away with it under the guise of God's laws, or what they call in this situation with Iran a holy war. Like whatever they want to do, they're going to wrap it in the Bible. If they want to wage a war against women with bodily autonomy, they're going to use the Bible to do it, although there's verses in there that literally God instructs men, if they are jealous and suspect that their woman has cheated, not that if you have any evidence, but out of jealousy, if you suspect that your woman has cheated, if she ends up pregnant, here's a cocktail where you can make her miscarry the baby. So even like this book is just diabolical, and I really do believe that the people who are using it to oppress, who are using it to harm other people, I believe they're using Christianity the way it was intended to, and people who are trying to use it as a doctrine of good are using it the wrong way. It's not producing good. And if it was a doctrine of good, it would produce good. Yet it does not produce good. I want to know why this one religion, because keep in mind, Satanism does not even have the war and body count that Christianity do. It just does not. It doesn't. It like there are less people who have killed because Satan told them to than God. There are more people who have engaged in terrorism on a wide scale at God's instruction, not Satan's instruction. So I'm over here willing to take I'm gonna take my chance with Satan at this one, rather than that genocidal, war-hardy, misogynistic God who does not like women. Like that God doesn't even like women. The God doesn't even like women, and it's quite clear in that Bible. If we're taking it as truth, if we're taking it at face value, then this God, not only does this God hate women, but he's also very jealous of women, because women have been proven man to do what he cannot do, which is he couldn't even generate a body for his own damn son. Why are you over there with teenage Mary worrying about her womb? Why don't you just make Jesus a body from ribs and dust like you did with Adam? So you can't do that. Now you got to go get this little teenage girl pregnant.
Well, I can explain that, but it'll be up for you to interpret it. The reason he decided to hold on, can you read over? You got the echo.
Yeah.
Now, I understand what you're saying. Why couldn't he just come down? But the thing is, he in Isaiah he said that I will bring a seed of my own and be a sacrifice. So he had to go. He didn't have to.
But Shannon, who is the sacrifice to, Shannon? Why is he sacrificing his own son to himself?
Redemption. So even in the beginning of the parallel, we say who is the sacrifice to?
Yeah, so the sacrifice is to himself. The sacrifice is to him.
Himself. So yeah, so
He sacrificed. So he's sacrificing his son to himself. Why can't it's to him? He could just waive the sacrifice and let his son live. Like
he could, right? But then also him coming down and having a human experience as well, so that you can't have an excuse. I ate with you, I died for you, I spent time amongst you.
No,
So
he
now-
didn't. No, he didn't do that. No, he created another human to absorb it. He didn't do it. He put it. Supposedly, he put his son in human body so that his son could experience it, not so that he could. The sacrifice is to him, though. So it's like, why do you have these people out here? Why are you sacrificing your son to yourself? Again, why are you sacrificing your son to yourself?
Well, the son was part of him. That's why he says nobody knows the son. We don't have the time for it. Can we run it back?
Yes.
We'll run it back. Because again, a lot of it will be going into theology. And then what's your interpretation of the Trinity, how you view that. That's why I'm saying we don't have the time. We just don't have the time. I did enjoy the conversation. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll try to do it every Tuesday.
Because I was just mostly wondering, why is the sacrifice required if you're the governing God? Why do you need a sacrifice? Why can't you just wipe their sins away? Why can't you just create them outside of a sinful state?
Needing to do and choosing to do, that's what I'm saying. It's two different things. He didn't have to do it, but he chose to do it. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you get into a deep dive like that, then it becomes a little different. But again, we don't have the time. We don't have the time. But I'll love to run it back. I mean, the religious conversations, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I do
I don't
too.
think it was no disrespect. So, I think she won now. Even though it wasn't a win or lose situation. I got some questions. I got things I'm looking into. And I understand her perspective. So, hold on 1 second. Let me come on here because I don't grab the damn StreamYard link real quick. Hold on. I should be popping up in a second. Yeah, my computer randomly restarted. Continue.
Yeah, so
There we go. Yeah. It was beautiful. There was it was cool.
There are some
people that's in the comments that would like to
come up now.
because I know you're short on time. Do you mind if they come up?
Yeah, they can come up. That's fine.
All right. If y'all got a request, you want to say hi to Cynthia, or you got even some questions and stuff like that, I will let you up right now. She has to go in about probably 20 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta take my cat to the vet. I think he broke his tail or something. Like something. It's something's going on with him. So I have to take him to the vet.
I got you. Oh, y'all come off camera. You and Proud, y'all come off camera. You ain't got to. I just did it. And Proud, thank you for joining.
dental work, so I'm gonna stay off camera right now.
Oh no, you don't have to come off camera. I was just saying.
Okay.
Who specifically has a question? If you want to, because y'all, she only got about 15 to 20 minutes left. I was supposed to end at 2:30, but we kind of went overboard. I'm gonna let up some women so y'all can come and talk to her. Okay, Ethereal. I'm sorry, not Ethereal. Well, yeah, Ethereal. Did you have? Hold on, man, you gotta get muted.
Hold on. Hey, 1 second. Let me drop so they can have their time within. I just want to say thanks for having me, Shannon. It's been, I love you. Hopefully we can do this again, sis. I love you.
Definitely.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to it.
and
I
absolutely.
absolutely adore you. So
And
let's do this again.
and Proud Black Woman will do some discussion collaborations as well. We'll do
Okay,
some.
sounds good. I appreciate you. Thank you, Stan. I'm gonna drop some more people to come up.
I'm gonna go on mute so it stop boring.
You good? No, I enjoyed it. I told you I should be a friend. I think she painted a few questions that I'm gonna have to wrestle with and go back and study. Like, you know what I'm saying, and that's the beauty of the discussion. I don't see myself leaving Christianity. So I think I'm still rooted in it, but you know, it's some good questions. She brought up some good points, and I just have to go look into them. I don't want to be the Christian that can't have a conversation and get to cussing her ass out and calling her a B word and stuff like that. Stupid. For what? Anyway, Etheria, did you have a question?
More of a statement. I was listening to you all, and Cynthia made some very relevant points, and you did too. And I believe that we all have been indoctrinated. We've all been brainwashed, and if we don't study for ourselves, it just will continue to be a loop. Okay, I do believe that we are having these gender wars because of biblical teachings, and that they did take out the actual woman, the actual female spirit that is known as the Ruach Kadash. Now, the Bible has been rewritten, not just from the Ethiopian Bible, but from the Sanskrit, from the Emerald Tablets. There's so many ancient artifacts that they took and rewrote that Bible with, right? And when it says in the beginning, God made it, the earth, it was the Elohim, meaning many gods. And when you go to, these churches with whatever titles they have for themselves, Baptist, whatever, they always tell you the Trinity is the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. When actually, when you study, even going down into Hebrew, it's the Ruach Kadash, which is the feminine spirit that was always here, because that spirit was on the earth. That was the breath, and it says it in Genesis. So they took the woman out because the Romans were rainbow, okay? And they wanted the men to rule. So when you have this man ruling, you're having this chaos because they have totally split up the family. And I believe that that's why they don't want the Black family as a whole, because they know how powerful we are. And I wanted to, before I land my plane, I wanted to say the Middle East is a falsehood. When you say you don't believe Jesus is Black, the Middle East was coined in 1850. The Middle East is part of Africa. Okay, just like the what do they say? The Egyptians always say we're Egyptians, as if they're not part of Africa. And the people in the Middle East have that skin complexion because of intermingling. So the most Yahushua is melanin. He comes from the ether, the ninth ether. Everything runs on melanin. Okay, and just like what's happening here in America, like all of this fighting who's indigenous, who's not, we're getting more caramel colored children that's changing the complexion.
Y'all, hold on. I just had to turn her down for a minute. Do y'all remember when we were doing a discussion and somebody came up and started talking about the Ra and the Ma? That's who I think that's who she is.
Part of Asia, then
I really think this is the lady who I came up on my panel talking about the Ra and Ma. If y'all remember that, because this is weird. Like, girl.
Look at the map, you can see where after so many continental plates shifted and things of that nature. But it actually was.
It's like, girl, what are you talking about?
Africa.
She is. It is a woke Bible. It is a woke Bible. She preaching a woke Bible. Yeah, no, it sounds like she sounds like the same person.
Kim? If y'all have a question for Sin, you can ask her a question.
Yep, the melanin and the mitochondria and hidden in the mitochondria is Ra, and if you just cover it back up with 2 layers of DNA, then you get Ra. I guess I don't like. I think that's who she was. I really do think that's who she was.
Oh, never mind, Karen, never mind. Kim, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm at work and it's really loud in here. But I just wanted to say that I don't have anything to say or any specific topic. I know that Sin don't like faith, but I absolutely cannot pass up the opportunity to let Sin know that she totally changed my life for the better. And I 100% appreciate her and I love her. And I just hope that she keeps doing what she's doing. And I just want to say that, yeah, she's the best, and I'm so grateful to have found her because she absolutely changed my life.
Oh, thank you.
Want to respond to that, Sin?
Yeah, thank you.
Compliments.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. No, because I'm just doing my part. I really am. I'm just doing my part to try to help us progress towards change. And a lot of the stuff is uncomfortable for me too. Like some of the revelations and coming to certain truths has been, it's been very difficult for me to accept certain truths too. But we can't move forward towards progression if we don't recognize certain truths. And I think that once we identify that something is affecting our community negatively more so than positively, we should probably be discarding it. We probably should be. We should be discarding it. And I get that a lot of people are Christians, and I'm not telling you what to do or what to believe. I'm just pointing out these contradictions because these were issues for me all during my upbringing with Christianity. All of these things that I mentioned were points of contention for me with religion. And so, but if the religion gives you comfort, if it helps you individually to be a better person, then sure, fine, play on. But I just don't think it's a beneficial thing at all. But
are you open to having another one?
I'm not the one that made any of those Christian statements. I don't believe in all that stuff. So no, everything I've ever accomplished in my life and had in my life, I have to do it myself in my own hard work. So I don't believe in all of that.
Exactly. Anyway, so we on the same page then, because I basically had to too. It's never been like comforting or helpful to me at all. And I've seen too much bad come from it and experienced too much bad.
And I just want to say, all the things that I've been through in my life, I don't think that he don't like me. So no, it's not that at all. But anyway, I'll drop down. But I just want to say that, Sin, I love you for doing your thing. You changed my life. I try to pass your message on to other girls who want to listen. And, I'm just so grateful to have you. I'm grateful that I found you. And that's all. You can drop me.
Thanks. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you for coming on, man. You have a blessed day. Cam. I say Cam. Kara, how you doing?
I do. I have a different perspective because for 30 years I was a Christian, and I'm an atheist now. I'm almost 40, and as an atheist, I can see how detrimental the Bible specifically is to Black women specifically. Okay. I have heard so many Black Christian women spout off nonsense and dismissing and enabling these men to do god-awful things. Like, it was one woman that said that she got her man's clothes together so he can go out and cheat. Like, girl, no. But beyond that,
we not doing that. I remember, is she talking about that chick that was on the Dear Future Wifey podcast?
In and of itself is not something that the African people specifically created. This was something that was put on us to subjugate us. And that's because if you look at the word, I studied church history because I went to a Christian high school. I went to a Christian middle school, and I did church history. I did apologetics. I did all of that. And I sat down for myself, read the entire Bible in and of itself, and then I felt some type of way about it. The first thing that broke me was the firmament. We don't live on Asgard, okay? There is not a firmament. We know it's not a firmament. We know that there's planets. We know that there's space. We know this. Yeah. And the idea that we can take everything that we know to be true and to be real, something that can be demonstratively proven over and over and over again, and dismiss it simply because some people back in the Bronze Age decided to write a story, sounds ridiculous. And the ability to wipe away, the ability to tell somebody, to the gall to look at, to be able to write down slaves obey your masters is insane to me. And the fact that we as Black people can sit here and identify with that and worship somebody that told us that it was okay what our slave masters was doing to us. Because the Bible says that whatever you do to your slave is okay as long as you don't kill them. So they could do whatever they did to us, and they had full right to do it because they had a deity that was giving them permission to do it. And the idea that we are taking this and we are teaching our children, we are raising them up to believe that they are less than, they are born as evil, manipulative, gross, disgusting people is horrible. It ruins a child's self-esteem. It ruins their self-worth. It ruins our community. Because all we can think about is that we are built into this sinful nature. And because we are built into this sinful nature, everything that comes natural to us is a problem. And that's insane. I 100% believe this within my heart of hearts, that men create religion because women could create life. They needed a way to subjugate the life bringers because they didn't have the ability to do it. And what have we learned about men thus far? If they are not included in everything that we do, then they feel some type of way. They think we dress for them, we act for them, we prepare our lives. Why do you feel the idea that an entire demographic of people is made to be your help is insane to me. I don't get to have a choice in my life. My life is built to support you, your plans, what you want, what you think, how you feel. That is gross. And if any person exhibited the behaviors that the biblical God exhibited, we would tell them that they are toxic, they are manipulative, they are hypocritical, they are liars, they are controlling, and they are abusive. But we are supposed to worship somebody that embodies all of the toxic crap that we hate about ourselves. He's jealous, he's wrathful, he's vengeful, he's murderous, all of these things. And we're supposed to internalize that and become better people. How?
You can. You can.
He expects us to be better than him. And that's where I'll land.
And that's one of the unique problems when you think about Christianity, and one of the unique bads that it brought. It did usher into men this entitled mentality based on the notion that women were created for them as a derivative of them. So because men are running around thinking that, repeating the Bible, saying, oh, you're supposed to be a helpmeet to me, they're interpreting this as you're beneath me, I'm supposed to control you, you're not an autonomous human being because you weren't made for yourself, you were made for these men. You were made to be in service to this man. Your body is not your own. Your mind is not your own. When you marry these men, which is forced, because the only women who are in the Bible getting protection is virgins and married women. But when you marry this man through a forced arranged marriage, which is not going to be your choice because you don't get to pick who you marry. But when you do, your body is no longer yours. It's his. You can't make decisions about your own womb. They're his decisions. So literally the doctrine in this book has given way to female subjugation based on biology.
And Money, did you have any questions? Did I put you on mute? I probably put her on mute on accident. Amani, are you there? All right. So, all right. Is there anybody in the guest request that has questions for Sin? if you are in the guest request, you gotta click because she gotta leave in a second. So
Yeah, I do. My mom and my sister are here, and I have to take my cat to the vet.
do
I
you, do
do.
you, do you, do you need to leave? Do you need to leave right now? Because I mean, if we coming back next Tuesday, then we can.
Yeah, we can come back next Tuesday because it just turned 1 o'clock for me, which is 4 o'clock for you anyway. But yeah, I don't know what
Okay.
I let him go run amok outside, and when he came in last night, it was just weird. But then this morning, he doesn't want his tail touched. I can tell he's uncomfortable trying to position himself. Like honestly, I think he broke it because he can't put it up, and he usually walks around with his tail up and curved because that's what they do when they're in friendly energy. Yeah, he can't do that with his tail anymore, so I think he might have broke it. So I'm gonna go take him to the vet and hope the insurance I got him cover it. so yeah.
Jazz, you got smoked for sin. Well, wait for next Tuesday. Wait for next Tuesday. You can sin welcomes all the smoke.
Yeah, we'll definitely revisit
we'll do
it,
an open
but
panel. We'll do another open panel on the start and go into religion and then stuff
yeah.
like that, and I'll bring y'all up next time. So, but she's about to get up out of here. I enjoyed the conversation. I know she did.
I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it actually. That's why I think we should do it again. And I think people watching got something out of it too, both on YouTube and TikTok. Because the thing is, it's all about planting seeds. I mean, just consider some of the stuff that we said, especially about the standards, expectations, and boundaries. But I do think, and I know we didn't bring it up, but religion runs counter to standards, expectation, and boundaries. Standards, expectation, and boundaries also cannot exist in the same realm as male worship, and that Bible by default requires that you worship men. So I do think that's a barrier. I do think that religion is a barrier to women establishing standards, expectations, and boundaries as well, because though there are restrictions, placing restrictions on something you're supposed to worship. But we can talk about that next Tuesday. So thank y'all so much. Yeah.
I'm gonna upload this one on TikTok. I'm gonna make it down. I'm on YouTube. I'm gonna make it downloadable. I'm also gonna download a copy and send it in your email. But it's gonna be of this perspective, and you'll be able to upload it as well, so people can have better quality. So I got you.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, because I think I'm gonna put this one on private, and then I'll just re-upload the better one so that they're able to hear better. And thank you so much for inviting me. Thanks for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I really did, and it went a lot better than I thought it would go too. So I didn't think it would go bad. I didn't think it would go bad, but I thought that, because everybody has disagreements. So I know that sometimes disagreements can be the breeding ground for a little bit of hostility, but we were all very good. We all were very cordial. I don't think any one of us was actually offended by anything said. And I think it's just when you have the right combination and mature minds that this is what it results in. So thank you so much. I actually really appreciate it.
No problem. I'm going to let you get up out of here. Thank you for coming. And please do what they said. Please come to TikTok and start going live. They want to support you. They sent you a whole bunch of
they did
support. If you know what I mean by that.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And going forward, I probably will just be on my live on TikTok while I'm on YouTube discussing whatever we discuss. But thank you so much. I'm gonna take him to the vet, and then if you're doing your regular topics later, I'll definitely be there watching. So I can't wait. Okay.
Right, safe. I'll see you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, there I go. Okay. All right, you guys. All right, so I'll y'all heard it. This version will be on Patreon. I'll just unlist it, and then once the other one with the better audio, because the audio is tricky with Patreon, or not with Patreon, but TikTok, because I was on my cell on TikTok. I wasn't on the computer. I was on my phone on TikTok, and then the audio is coming out of this speaker. And so yeah, it was a little bit, you said very civil, except for me twerking in the comments. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. But I'll have the other version up. I'll put it I'll premiere it on the channel, so anybody who wants to watch the playback, they can watch the full thing, and then this will still be on Patreon, because the rest of the week is y'all's. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday we on Patreon, so we will definitely be there, which is good, because sometimes all of the energy bothers me, and I'm starting to get a headache now, so I'm thinking, yeah, it's a bunch of energy. Yeah, no, Elizabeth, if you don't let anybody change your belief system, if that's what you believe wholeheartedly, then continue to believe it. I definitely wouldn't tell anybody to discard a belief system that's doing something for them. This is just my personal choice and my issues that I've had with it growing up being a Christian. But yeah, definitely, if Christianity does something to you, for you, stick with it. If it's good to you, then yeah, stick with it. But I'll see y'all later on Patreon, of course, and then we'll just do that. But bye, y'all. I gotta go take him in. I gotta go find him. He probably is sitting on my bed or something, but I'm about to go find Jasper and take him in. I'll see y'all later. Bye.